Center update. I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
That player was either safe or out. Those are the only two options. And if you watch the replay, he was clearly, demonstrably, without a doubt, not safe, because the first thing you have to do to be safe is to touch the freaking base. And you know what Alec Bohm didn't do? Touch the freaking base. He just didn't touch it at all. This is not, bang, bang, play. There was no bang, bang, because there wasn't no bang in the bang, bang. There was just one bang, which was the tag. You know, bang, bang is when runner's foot hits base at very close to the exact same moment that ball hits glove or ball touches tag and gets out. That's bang, bang. This was not bang, bang because they missed the first bang. There was only one bang, bang. He's out because he didn't do the first bang, which is to touch the freaking dish. He didn't do it.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg. Catch the Rob Brown Show, weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
Furman fans, join fellow Paladins in Spartanburg as Furman takes on the Wofford Terriers on Saturday, October the 9th. Tailgate begins at 11 a.m., runs through 1 p.m. in Wofford's parking lot G. Game kicks off at 1:30 p.m. at Gibbs Stadium. $10, all-you-can-eat lunch is included for the price. Registration for tailgate tickets closes at 10 a.m. on October the 7th on FurmanPaladins.com. That's Furman and Wofford, October 9th in Spartanburg. Come tailgate with fellow Paladin fans.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Line of Demarcation Day. I am Dan Scott, once again in for Rob Brown. Been here all week. We'll be here tomorrow, and it looks like there's nothing any of us can do about it. Good to be back, keeping the chair warm for the award-winning Rob Brown. Lonzo is on the controls, as he usually is. How are you, sir?
I am awesome.
You know, you said that yesterday as well. That seems to be a recurring theme with you.
Well, it's not untrue. I am definitely feeling really good. So glad to be here and a wonderful job and talking to you and talking to all the people out there listening. I mean, I woke up this morning. The sun is shining. What can be better than that?
Well, see, now I'm glad you kind of put into context why you say that you're awesome, because it doesn't sound to me like it's a self-congratulatory, ego-inflating type of conversation that we're having here.
Any ego that comes from me is definitely all radio, because I would never be egotistical at all. It's just a character I play.
Just a character, like a wrestler, perhaps. No
maybe.
comment, right? No,
maybe.
Well, anyway, it is good to be here. I have really enjoyed this week, kind of getting back into the swing of doing this on a daily basis for a long time. I'll probably need another 8 or 9 years to recover after this. But I have really enjoyed it. I hope you folks have enjoyed it as well. Worked hard to try to put together some good guests every single day and then bring some topics that you want to get into, which is where we're going today. Our guest list will all be in hours 2 and 3. In hour 2, Dave Glenn, who has covered the Atlantic Coast Conference for more than 30 years, will be with us. And not just the ACC, a lot of big picture stuff, including... Now, this is a guy who is, besides being a journalist, is also a lawyer. And his mother told him if he ever ran for office and won and became a politician, he'd be the 3 most hated people in America. But with the memo that we talked about briefly yesterday from the National Labor Relations Board about college athletics and private school athletes being able to unionize if they want to, or at least have those conversations and being protected Dave, when in his lawyer background, is going to be a good guy to talk to about this. So we'll bring that subject up with him as well. Top of the third hour, my boss here at Furman, Jason Donnelly, the athletic director, will be with us, and he's got a lot to be happy about with what's going on here. You know, attendance at our first two Furman football games this year up over 58% from 2019. And there's a lot of reasons for that, including all of the new things that have gone into the game day atmosphere. And I'd like to think that our relationship with ESPN Upstate has a lot to do with that as well. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it with, you know, contract negotiations coming up and all that stuff. We want to be as positive as we can. But no, all kidding aside, I'm serious. Our relationship with ESPN Upstate has been fantastic, and I think that's played a role in it. Jason will talk about all of that stuff, what's coming up here on campus, what is coming down the pike as far as Furman athletics. That's coming up at the top of the 2 o'clock hour. And then after that, going to kind of shift gears a little bit. Ivan Mizell was a college football writer and TV personality for ESPN for 2 decades, and now he writes for a website called On3. He's the senior guy there. And we will probably talk a little bit of big picture college football with him. But the chief reason he is here is he has written a brand new book that will be out at the end of the month of October called I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, a memoir of loss, grief, and love. And it's a book that he's written about his son, Max, who committed suicide back in 2015. And just the very idea that this national guy would take a personal tragedy and bare his soul publicly in an effort not only to memorialize his son, but to try and help other people is just off the charts when it comes to how admirable that is and how difficult it must be. As a father of 2 daughters and now 3 grandchildren, the idea of going through something like that is not even something I want to think about. Well, Ivan Mizell and his wife not only have gone through it, but they're sharing that experience publicly. And that new book comes out later this month, or actually next month. Tomorrow's the first day of October. I think October 26th. It can be pre-ordered now. He'll tell us all about that. But just the willingness to open up and talk about that in hopes of helping other people, it's just unbelievable. Ivan Mizell will be with us in the third hour as well. But between now and then, we got a lot of stuff to get into. When Dave Glenn gets here in the next hour, one of the things we'll talk about is the fact that Virginia and Miami play tonight on Thursday Night Football. Virginia is 2-2. Miami is 2-2. Both fan bases are beginning to grow tired of their head coaches. Bronco Mendenhall at Virginia, Manny Diaz at Miami, and Diaz may be the one that is most on the hot seat. So, couching this in terms of one of the questions I was asked on the text line yesterday about television wrestling and the brief conversation we had there, Lonzo, I put forth this question. Could tonight's Virginia-Miami game be a loser leaves town match?
I think it absolutely could be and probably should be.
Diaz is the one who's on the biggest hot seat of the 2 coaches. But Virginia fans are starting to grumble and complain about Bronco Mendenhall and that program after he injected some excitement into it. That excitement has leveled off, looks like it's peaked and has started on the other side of the slope, heading downhill. There are those people who believe that Manny Diaz is just flat in over his head as a head coach at the University of Miami. Now, whether that's true or not, I can't tell you. I can just tell you the things that I read from people who claim to know what's going on. But the thing that is undeniable is that Miami program, since coming into the Atlantic Coast Conference in 2005, has been an unmitigated disaster. When the ACC thought it was going to be just an incredible addition, and, at the time Florida State was still really nationally relevant, and you thought bringing Miami into the conference, along with at the time Virginia Tech and Boston College, and you thought that Miami coming into the ACC, adding that dynamic with Virginia or with Florida State, because of what they had been in the 90s and in the early part of the 2000s, how that rivalry had been one of the best, if not the best, college football rivalries on the national scene. ACC thought, wow, man, we're going to reap the benefits of that. Miami has been awful. Florida State, obviously, has gone steadily downhill, and right now they are completely and 100% in the tank. That has not happened. And I saw all of the things this preseason, and it seems like you see this almost every year. But, the reports were coming out of Coral Gables. Miami is back. The Hurricanes are back. The old swagger is back. And they just keep getting drilled. So Manny Diaz's act is wearing really thin. Bronco Mendenhall is beginning to wear thin in Charlottesville. The loser of tonight's game could find himself on a fast track towards the unemployment line. And if you look at the schedules coming up, it's obviously not going to get much easier for Miami especially. And there's a thought that one of the schools paying particular attention to this game tonight and moving forward would be University of Oregon, because of Mario Cristobal and the job that he's done there. And people have said that he'll be the guy that goes to take the University of Southern California job. Some people in Miami, boosters, are saying he's the guy that can turn our program around. I don't, if Oregon lets him get away, they're crazy. But there may not be anything they can do to stop him.
Why would he leave Oregon with what he's doing this year?
I don't know. Well, money, quite honestly. And what's a bigger market? What's a better conference affiliate? I mean, there are a lot of things that come into play.
Maybe warm weather.
If you're a head coach, warm weather would come into play. But you know what? There's something to being happy, and there's something to being content. And I've had people, tell me this or ask me this all the time. You've been doing this for X number of years, and you're 54 years old. Some people think I'm talented. I'll leave that up to them. Some people think that I couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie, and they might be right. But they say, why have you been at Furman for so long? Why not pursue another job where you could have more prestige and you could maybe make more money and those type of things? And my answer is always the same thing. It's twofold. A, this is where God has my family and I, and B, I'm happy. I came to grips with a long time ago that I don't need what I thought I needed when I was younger. So I don't know what Mario Cristobal is going to do at Oregon. But I know this. If Miami fires Manny Diaz, they're going to offer him the whole of South Florida to try to get him to take that job. Just like USC, the one on the left coast, is probably going to do the same thing to try to get him to fill the vacancy that they do actually have now. So tonight's Virginia and Miami game could end up being, again, in those wrestling terms, a loser leaves town match. And I got to tell you, Lonzo, before we go to break, I really spent some time looking on YouTube this morning to try to come up with one of the old wrestling promos from the 80s and 90s with, Gordon Soley or somebody like that, where they were expounding on loser leave town matches. I did find a couple, but nothing that really Nothing that really fit the bill. But I think, especially if it's Miami that loses this game, and Dave Glenn will have some thoughts on this, I'm sure. But if Miami loses this game, I think that you can start writing the eulogy for Manny Diaz's tenure with the Hurricanes. So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about as we go through the course of the show today. When we come back in the next break, I have a statement I'm going to make now before we go to commercial, and then I'm going to come back and back it up. The statement, Lonzo, Paul Feinbaum is an idiot. The reasoning, I'll tell you on the other side of the break. And this entire first hour is open. Phones, texts. We want to hear from you. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text line, keyword ESPN to 71307. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. We are just getting cranked up. Don't go away.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The NASCAR weekend begins on Saturday this week at Talladega Superspeedway, as the trucks in the Xfinity Series will each run on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the Cup Series in action. This is the second of 3 races in the round of 12.
Okay.
After the next 2 races, the current playoff field of 12 drivers will be cut down to 8. So far, only 1 driver has advanced to that round of 8. That's Denny Hamlin. The other drivers who are currently above the cut line, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski, while the 4 drivers below the cut line, William Byron, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, and Christopher Bell. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Coming up on a Thursday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan, we'll be live on location at Ingalls Market's Poinsett Highway in Greenville. Hope to hear from all of you in your upset picks of the week. We'll have Lawton Swan, who is primarily to blame for what ails Clemson. We'll also have Josh Pate. Is there a likely major upset?
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan, now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
Listen to Kelvin. What he's about to say could change your life.
I'm 6'2", and I was about 290, and I lost weight fast. I trimmed down. Now I'm about 235. I'm probably at about 9, maybe 10% body fat. That's great. I lost probably at least 60 pounds in probably 3.5, 4 months. Color of my hair is coming back. Skin looks better. Obviously gaining muscle. My muscle mass is coming back. Thank you for providing an awesome product. Somebody who actually has and does what they say they will. That's awesome.
That's great, Kelvin. Losing that belly fat in less than 4 months is outstanding. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been changing men's lives, like Kelvin, and can help you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve your lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Experience the biggest and scariest haunted attraction, full of dark woods, incredible set designs, special effects, and top-notch actors. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Mad World is more than just a haunted house. There are escape rooms, scary carnival games, concessions, bonfire, amazing photo opportunities, a gift shop, and our brand new 18-hole ghost town mini golf. Mad World has scary entertainment for all ages, including families, adults, teenagers, and the adrenaline junkies at heart.
Very narrow.
On Piedmont off I-85, exit 35. Mad World
we went out there for before they opened.
This Halloween
The station did, and some of them are not made for some of the holes are not made for larger people.
MadWorldAttractions.com.
So it made it a little awkward.
According to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now, will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job.
I am overly excited about getting my first ever bowling shirt. So,
82% of you will also know that I
you see it on TV. It pales in comparison to actually wearing one. It's just so cool.
4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter
Yeah, I know it's bowling. How cool can it be? But still.
First day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free?
Yeah, we are doing a thing on Thursday nights at
that exclusive link
is spare time.
Radio. Yes,
Congaree, where we're bowling for 8 weeks for Stoneman Bad Bowling
Nothing worse
Club.
than coming home from a hot day to find out
That's
that your
pretty cool.
AC
I mean,
unit
so I'm getting to
isn't
bowl
working.
3 games for free,
You
and I
need
got
an
a
HVAC
shirt.
company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC.
Yeah, and then I
specialists
went
will
out and
give your
bought a
system
bowling
thorough
ball,
checkup.
but
And if you need a
it
new
was my
unit,
birthday,
Priority
and my
Heating
mom
Air
sent
is
me
a
some
proud
money, and
distributor
I've
of
never had one
worldwide
before. It's like,
HVAC
I'm going to go get
systems.
one.
So keep your family or business cool this summer and give Priority Heating and Air a call today.
Well, they had a deal.
1847 or find them
A
online.
bowling ball, a bag, and shoes for $153.
This report
Which was cool. I mean, it's a process, and how they measure and all that kind of stuff. It is really, I'd always wondered, and got to see them drill it right there, and even they had to adjust a little bit because my thumb, and it was pretty cool. All right, we're coming back.
Making life easier. No purchase necessary.
Call 844-GSP ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
Just getting things started. First hour of the show. Dan Scott continuing my guest hosting stint for Rob Brown. I am the director of broadcasting, play-by-play voice here at Furman University. We have a bye week this week. No football. Next week, we resume play with one of the better rivalries inside. In fact, I think it's Georgia and Auburn that always claim to be the oldest rivalry in college football in the South. That is incorrect. Furman and Wofford is the oldest rivalry in the South. Furman and Wofford first played, and I'm going off memory here, in I think 1887. And Georgia Auburn played 2 years later. So anytime you see that, and those years may not be exactly right, but it was pre-1900. Anytime you see that about being the oldest rivalry in the South, you will know that's incorrect. It's Furman and Wofford. That's a 1:30 kick, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, October 9th in Spartanburg. And we'll be telling you more about that in a little while. All right, as we get back to play, I left the last segment with a proclamation that Paul Feinbaum is an idiot. Paul Feinbaum has been a longtime radio talk show host, primarily blowing the Alabama horn for most of his life. ESPN picked him up, started running his show on television when they started and launched the SEC network, and he has become a fixture on everything that they do. He was a guest on Mike Greenberg's Get Up TV show day before yesterday, part of a panel. And he was asked if the Clemson dynasty was over, if Dabo Swinney's time with a dominant program at Clemson had run its course. This is what Paul Feinbaum had to say in answer to that question from Mike Greenberg.
Dabo's dynasty is done. Ooh. I do not like anything I see there. I respect what Heather has just got through saying, but I strongly and vehemently disagree. They've lost one coach a couple of years ago to USF. I think that was a big loss. This is a staff that has always been together, but I think it's getting stale. Yes, recruiting is still good, but will it be elite after what we just got through watching, Greeny? It just doesn't look like Clemson is part of the cool kids anymore, and I think that they're going to pay for it in recruiting, and they play in a terrible league, which will hurt them even more.
So that was Paul Feinbaum. I believe it was day before yesterday. All right, a couple of points. Number one, Clemson has had, I think, 7 consecutive top 10 recruiting classes. And the one that they're working on right now, I believe, is in that ballpark as well. I'm not a recruiting guy. I have this strange idea that you judge a recruiting class after they've played rather than before. That's just me. But anyway, the recruiting has not dropped off. The recruiting is not going to drop off. They did lose Jeff Scott to South Florida. He is correct there. He and Tony Elliott were co-offensive coordinators. Tony Elliott is now the solitary offensive coordinator. What we are seeing this year from Clemson is simply a blip on the radar. And it's not just my opinion. If you were with us yesterday, Larry Williams, who's covered this program for 2 decades as a beat writer, talked about the offensive line issues, how help is on the way, both in recruiting and in young players, one of whom is injured and missing this season, that the offensive line is going to get better. Talked about the fact that part of the issue is the way that DJ Uiagalelei is playing at quarterback. There's no question about that. They've not been able to run the football because of the offensive line issues. This is a blip on the radar. I firmly believe that. And I think this is one of those indications where Paul Feinbaum showed his bias. And it may have been unintentional. I think it was intentional. I don't think there's any question that he carries the Southeastern Conference flag. They are the best conference in the country. I understand that. But to make that statement when ignoring what has just happened in his own backyard with very similar circumstances, it is hypocritical at best and diabolical at worst. Look at Alabama. Alabama got blown out by Clemson in the 2018 national championship game in the Orange Bowl. Just got absolutely obliterated. In 2019, they went 6-2 in the SEC, didn't make the playoffs, had to settle for the Citrus Bowl. They did go 11-2 that year, but went 6-2 in the league. And that was, of course, the year that LSU set all of those offensive records and won everything coming and going with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, who are both now in Cincinnati. But they get just absolutely crushed in that national championship game and then go 6-2 in the conference the next year. But, oh, by the way, in 2020, they bounced back and won another national championship. So, he conveniently overlooks what's happened in his own backyard to take another shot at Clemson and using Clemson as an overarching shot at the Atlantic Coast Conference as a whole. I got news for you. The ACC hasn't been good as a football conference anyway. It's not like they're terrible all of a sudden. It's not been a great ultra elite football conference. They have been better in recent years, but they have not been the ultra super elite football conference as a whole as the Southeastern Conference has been. But Clemson has been carrying the flag for the conference, and that has been good enough to win 2 national championships since 2016. So the idea that the ACC is terrible is nothing new. The ACC was terrible when Florida State joined it in 1992, and that didn't stop them from having that historic run and winning national championships and doing what they did when they won 70 of their first 72 conference games. 70 out of 72. This was just a case of Feinbaum saying something specifically to have a quote-unquote hot take and to continue to wave the SEC flag on the network that has invested the vast majority of its college football resources, time, and attention to that same network. Because if he was being objective and look at what happened at the school where he has made the majority of his money prior to SEC or ESPN, he can see a very similar pattern. Now, time is going to tell about Clemson moving forward in the next year or two. And I'm not sitting here waving the Clemson flag, so to speak. All I'm saying is if you look at the two situations objectively, Feinbaum making that statement that in one season that the Dabo Swinney dynasty is done when they've made the college football playoffs for 6 consecutive years. One blip on the radar does not mean the end of a dynasty. It didn't for Alabama in 2019. I don't think it's going to for Clemson here in 2021. Now, I may be proven wrong, and people may turn around and call me an idiot. It won't be the first time. I'm married with children. I get that all the time. Sometimes I feel like Al Bundy. But make no mistake about it, Feinbaum's shtick is one to wave the Southeastern Conference flag and to poke a stick at anybody else, including and especially Dabo Swinney, Clemson, specifically in the ACC as a whole. And not saying that sometimes maybe the criticism isn't warranted because, again, the league is not, by and large, a great league overall. But that one team has been good enough twice in the last 5 seasons to win a national championship. So your thoughts? 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text keyword ESPN to 71307. Will be open phones for the rest of this hour, for most of hour number 2. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about it, including when we come back. And also I get to ask or answer another question about food from the text line, which has been a recurring theme this week. Apparently I'm being put through an initiation of sorts as I co-host, or a guest host rather, for Rob Brown. I'm Dan Scott, Lonzo on the controls. Back in a moment.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
Sound pretty strong to me.
An Odyssey station.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. AFC action coming up from Cincinnati as Joe Burrow and the Bengals play host to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bengals are 2-1 and coming off a big division win over the Steelers. Head coach Zach Taylor says his young Bengals could be special.
You look at the field position our special teams created. You look at the mindset our defense has played with for 3 weeks, the belief they have in themselves. And then the offense is capable of, on a moment's notice, of being explosive and score some points. If we can get the ground game going. So I really think that the team believes in all 3 phases that we can do whatever it takes to win.
Jacksonville's off to an 0-3 start, but has seen promising play from their top draft pick, Trevor Lawrence. Ian Eagle and Mike Golick will call all the action from Cincinnati when the Bengals host the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football.
That major discussion, if that did happen, might have been pre-me. But
and remember to listen for the
interested in your
NFL right
take.
here all season long.
Did you know the arrow in Amazon's logo represents A to Z? Maybe the My Computer Career logo should represent unemployed to employed. Ryan was out of work when he started classes in March. In September,
really what it
he
comes
started
down to
his
is this
IT
is a way to
career
get to know
working
someone
for
by asking them
Amazon,
these questions.
making more money than he ever thought possible. Here's a prime opportunity. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a $25 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power.
I don't really look at the text line too much because I can only read "Lonzo, you're an idiot" so many times. And it's like, so I just don't even see it anymore.
At O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I don't take it seriously though. I think it's hilarious.
Auto Parts. The Greenville Triumph Soccer Club continues their playoff push Friday, October 1st.
You want some haters?
Against Fort Lauderdale CF
I
at
don't know
Legacy
what to
Early
tell you
College in
about
West
that.
Greenville. Tickets start at $10 and they will go fast. So get yours today at
There's some people hate me
That's Triumph.
anytime I turn the mic on. So
We're
you know,
planning a trip
I'm
to
good with
Spain
that.
later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly.
I don't know if the
and
reference works anymore
learning
though,
Spanish
because I've heard that too. Because there's not that many cowboy movies.
There's no easier way to
I
learn
wonder how many millennials or whatever
He just said
the
now he speaks
newer
Spanish.
kids are called now
wait to use our new
have
language
actually watched a
skills on our
cowboy
upcoming
movie.
adventures.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try
I was gonna say,
Babbel for free at Babbel.com.
I don't
Just
know,
go to
play that in a John
Babbel.com
Wick
and start
movie?
learning
I
a new
don't know.
language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save
I
valuable
like that
time
one.
with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now,
Have
order
we
on
reached the
Beacon
point
Pro
where that's
Plus
no longer
and get a
possible?
$175 gift card and a
As far
chance
as
for a
age-wise
VIP
goes.
Pro Football Getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
Okay, so I guess it would be possible, I think.
Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions
20
in
seconds.
the form of free battery testing, free battery charging. and
I've never
replacement
seen him
batteries
before.
that
I've only
fit
heard
your
his
needs.
voice,
That's
and
what
he
makes
sounds a
them
lot younger than
America's
that.
#1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
So apparently during my rant in the last segment, I used an alliteration about myself that Lonzo and I were discussing during the break that may have dated myself and generationally may only work to or for listeners of a certain age group. When I said that some people, when I was talking about my broadcast work, some people like it, others, and I said, think that I couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie. And Lonzo made a good point of the listenership of this station and the target audience of this station. How many of them have actually seen a good old-fashioned cowboy picture? And especially if they're millennials, would that alliteration make any sense? And I offered up, well, maybe I should have said that maybe they think I'm black and white TV in an HD world. Kind of gets the same point across.
It does. And, you know, I've been sitting here trying to rack my brain. When's the last time there was a really good Western that came out? And I can't think of one.
Gotcha. Young Guns.
That's a long time ago.
I know.
Well, you've had some Clint Eastwood movies since then that were pretty good. Also, I think Silverado came out after Young Guns, but we're still in the 80s, 90s there.
Well, I mean, but again, so you can tell how often I go to the movies, right? Not often. I'm not a big go to the movies person. But you know, I will catch certain things that I like to watch when on television. And although I'm not a huge Western fan, occasionally, you know, if something comes on, you know, you'll watch it for a little bit. The old black and white Westerns from the 50s and 60s. That was the reference. And that's an old reference. And it's usually said about athletes who are not performing well. This guy's so bad he couldn't play dead in the cowboy picture. But I think you're right. I think the alliteration probably only works with a certain generation. So I'll have to keep that in mind for the next time. Bottom line is the same point I think is accurate. Paul Feinbaum's an idiot. And he's of that same generation. So he would have gotten it. A couple of things from the text line that says we've hit on cowboy movies all of a sudden. But let's go kind of in order. Hurricane Jeff says, I'll agree with your point as to the hot seat for Manny Diaz. He's always been a great defensive coordinator. His text cut off, but I'm assuming he said, but it does not translate as a head coach. Then another listener texts and says, Feinbaum has had a unique hatred for Dabo and Clemson since 2016. Man isn't credible unless talking about the Southeastern Conference. And then 4 consecutive texts about cowboy movies. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. 1, I've seen cowboy movies, but have never heard that reference. Panda says True Grit remake was pretty good earlier in the 2000s. 310 to Yuma was a good cowboy movie, someone says. And then somebody else says, big fan of the movie when Clint Eastwood was a drug mule. Was that a cowboy movie?
See, I don't think so in the vein of what you're speaking of.
Right.
I think it has to be during a certain era. True Grit really was good. The original and the remake were good.
Okay. And then apparently my initiation phase as guest host is continuing because the very first question on the text line today is another food question. Question number 4 of the week, it says, Dan, if you have to choose one barbecue sauce for your barbecue, are you going mustard base or red sauce? And then it says, as a bonus, can you, and then the text ends there. So I don't know what the bonus portion of the question is. I can tell you unequivocally, without hesitation, I'm going red sauce. I will occasionally dip something in mustard sauce, but my go-to is red sauce. And don't even bring vinegar to me. Don't even think about it. Not going to do it. So red sauce, 99% of the time. The rare occasion just to change it up a little bit, maybe a little mustard sauce. You'll never, ever see me with vinegar sauce.
I was a little worried. I gotta admit, I was a little concerned that you might go mustard base, but thank goodness you did not, because mustard base is no. That's just no. Just
it's
stop
not.
with that.
It's not that I think it's disgusting or anything. I just happen to like the red sauce better. I don't have any anti-mustard base agenda. I will occasionally eat it, but and you're talking to somebody who for a year owned a barbecue restaurant until my wife and I decided we were going to kill each other working together and sold it.
Did you have both sauces?
We made all 3 sauces available for the people who wanted them.
So this is great because we can ask you which sauce was the most popular.
Oh, red sauce.
Okay.
What? Not even close. Not even close. And especially since we were using the world famous Montgomery Inn barbecue sauce out of the Montgomery Inn restaurant in Cincinnati. But it wasn't even close. Red sauce clearly was, the year that we had the restaurant, was the most popular. And mustard, and there were a few people who liked the vinegar sauce, but red sauce was a runaway winner. And in fact, when we were on our way to, which football game was it? I think it was a Tennessee Tech game. A couple of weeks ago, we stopped and ate lunch someplace, and it happened to be a barbecue place in North Carolina before we got to the Tennessee border. And without thinking about it, turned out to be a barbecue place in North Carolina is famous for its vinegar-based barbecue. And I that's what I got and had to choke some of it down. I was not a real fan of that at all. But yeah, the red sauce was easily far and away the best seller, the most used without question. Alabama white #1 mustard. 1.5 red sauce, number 6 mustard, vinegar 3. I don't know what that means. Bonus question: can you say the word alarm? I just said alarm.
They're getting kind of mean now, but that's what I expect from the text line.
Oh, that's fine.
Rob cannot say the word alarm. He says alarm.
Alarm?
Yeah, I figured it was. He's from Louisiana, grew up in Florida. I just thought it was, one of those things.
Okay.
Maybe there's some Cajun background and it just kind of,
I don't know,
messes with his words or something. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Somebody on the text line says, wait, hold on. I love Paul Feinbaum. That's fine. Tell me more. Somebody offered up Django Unchained as a recent cowboy movie that was pretty good. That was a Jamie Foxx movie. And I said the word alarm. So I think we're caught up on the text line. 71307 is the text number, keyword ESPN. Phone numbers are 844 for phone number 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Loser leaves town match tonight, Virginia-Miami. It's a losing coach on his way out. And Paul Feinbaum's an idiot. Those are the two takes that I opened the show with today. The Virginia-Miami game, we'll talk a little bit about that. Actually, we'll talk about both of these topics with Dave Glenn in the next hour, at the top of hour number 2.
Speaking of Feinbaum,
yes,
you and I had discussions yesterday off air about radio guys versus TV guys.
Mm-hmm.
Feinbaum's a radio guy, and Feinbaum knows how to mess with people, troll people, whatever. And this is going to probably bother somebody, but Clemson folks are sensitive. And since they're so sensitive and he knows that, he can come at them and get the kind of response that he wants on his program. And I don't really have too much of a problem with it. Even though he may be stating the obvious in some things, he's just trolling and it's working.
Listen, I'm not saying that it's not possible to be an idiot and a genius at the same time. Okay. I have been in the radio business for most of my post-high school career. I was a newspaper sports editor and sports writer for a period of about 11 years, kind of in between. So I've been in both mediums. And my very first newspaper editor, who I learned more journalism from than anybody else in my entire life in the 9 months I worked for him before he died of cancer, Wally Warden was his name. He told me one time that it does not matter if people read you because they like you or because they hate you, as long as they read you. And the same thing goes to talk radio. Doesn't matter if you're listening to Paul Feinbaum or Rob Brown or Mark Ryan or Dan Scott because you like what you hear or because you think the guy is a total idiot and you're waiting to hear what he says next that in your opinion is beyond stupid. Doesn't matter why you're listening, just that you're listening. That's all that really matters. Now, I try to take, in the years that I did it for 11 years, I tried to take a bit of a higher road than that most of the time to make the 3 hours that I had actually mean something and try to offer something that was actually of value. I mean, I could have gone on the air every single day, Lonzo. Now we got to get to a break. We will in just a second. I could have gone on the air every single day at the place I used to work and walked in and said 3 words and not had to work the rest of the day. Just sat back and take phone calls. All I would have had to have said was South Carolina sucks. That's it. And I could have taken the lazy way out and could have taken 3 hours of phone calls from both sides and let it degenerate into that kind of idiocy and been done. There are some people who do that. There are some people who say things strictly for effect. I said Paul Feinbaum's an idiot because I think on this particular take he's an idiot. Because he's not applying the same criteria to Alabama. But you're right. To your point, he's a radio guy. He's been doing this a long time. He knows how to get people stirred up. There's no question about that. And I think I used the phrase in the last segment talking about it. He's poking the stick at the bear being Dabo Swinney individually, the ACC overall. He's poking the stick at him. No question. All right, to break. Final segment of hour number 1, and then Dave Glenn will join us. We'll throw some of these topics at him at the top of hour number 2. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. Don't go away.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, a high around 87. And for tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Friday, partial sunshine develops, a high of 82 degrees. And for the weekend, sunshine, highs in the 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer.
I don't know. Would you consider? I guess you would consider that a negative text.
Currently, it's 82.
Good for you.
Congratulations to this week's ESPN Upstate Player of the Week, Demarius Foster of the Dorman Cavaliers. Foster had 29 carries on Friday for 269 yards and scored 5 touchdowns as the Cavaliers defeated Ridgeview 42-20. Again, congratulations to this week's ESPN Upstate Player of the Week, Demarius Foster.
The ESPN Upstate High School Player of the Week. The gridiron coverage is at ESPNUpstate.com.
By texting 484848, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Freshly. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at freshly.com/terms.
It's the Great American Dinner Race in this kitchen.
Bob?
With one of those meal service plans that come with portioned ingredients you have to prepare.
Hey, where's the broccoli?
And in the other kitchen.
How's it going? Jackson.
With Freshly, chef-prepared and fully cooked meals delivered to your door.
I'll have Freshly's peppercorn steak, sautéed carrots, and French green beans.
He puts it in the microwave. Bob is still assembling his ingredients.
Celery's sort of floppy. Ugh.
So how much did the Bengals win by tonight?
Is ready to eat.
So good.
And Bob's meal?
Forget it. I'm ordering meals from Freshly.
Freshly chefs cook nutritious meals from delicious whole food ingredients and deliver them right to your door. And right now, get $40 off your first 2 weeks when you text HUNGRY to 484848. Text HUNGRY to 484848 for $40 off. Text HUNGRY to 484848.
The greatest of all time, the GOAT. Most of the time,
admittedly, I have some bias because Joe Burrow from Ohio, and was at Ohio State for a while.
The GOAT in your eyes. And when it's
I think is the answer to fix some things at Cincinnati, but they need some more help.
Through your ring buying journey. Free customization, financing, and a lifetime warranty are all part of the Skatell's experience, one you truly will appreciate. Start your engagement ring journey at skatellsjewelers.com.
At Ingles, we're proud to partner with USC Upstate Athletics to bring you the very best of Spartan sports. And we're also proud to bring so many great game day options to the green and white faithful, like the best meat in town, crisp fresh produce, ice cold beverages, and more. Whether you're loading
Good to know the injury's holding up, though.
for the homestand, we've got you covered.
Getting hit that much and still being able to get up and be okay.
Upstate Spartans.
Can you pick winners? Well, then you can win cash. It's that simple. In the Rocket Mortgage Pro Football Pickup, just pick the most games right this week, and you can score $1,000. Just like that. No lineups, no spreads, no rosters, and a brand new game each week. The Rocket Mortgage Pro Football Pickup. It's totally free to play, so enter now by texting PICS to 20357. That's PICS to 20357.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Cannonball! Enjoy the taste of summer too, with amazing hand-tossed pies, cool, crisp salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom.
If I did mind, I would do it loud.
This feature sponsored by Indeed. Hiring for an open job shouldn't morph into a full-time job. Indeed is the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest.
Well, how long
Post a
that's been
job and
around?
hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means
That is true.
82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you
I'd look
can try
that up, but I
ZipRecruiter
wouldn't
for
know how
free
to,
today.
look that up.
You have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/free. How much? Free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
There's the rest, and then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, and the question still remains after this week, will it still be the best sports talk show in the Upstate when Rob gets back on Monday? Will the damage be too much to overcome? I guess we'll find out. Dan Scott hanging out with you until 3 o'clock today. Mark Ryan, Offsides with Mark Ryan, 3 to 7. Did I not hear where he is live at Ingles today, Lonzo?
Yep, as he is every Thursday.
Yeah.
And don't ask me which one because I forget.
I just Google Mark Ryan Ingles.
Or just pick an Ingles and go there. And no, we can find out which one.
And the folks at Ingles will be happy if you show up at any of their locations. But Mark's going to be at one specifically. We'll figure out which one it is and make sure we.
And by the way, it's a good time to show up when he does those live because they have a nice spread of food there, and you get to meet Mark Ryan, and he loves that. He loves when you come up and say hi. But just at the beginning of each hour, don't be anywhere near him because he will try to scare you. He gets purposefully loud to hear it echo throughout the store.
Oh, nice.
I've been there in person. It's a lot of fun to watch, but it kind of hurts your ears if you're sitting right next to him.
I hear you. You know, you had me at spread of food. So
it's a tailgating spread too, with wings and things like that. So it's nice.
So Ingles apparently is getting wings when nobody else around the country is. You know, there's a wing shortage.
I've heard that, and there are certain restaurants that have stopped serving wings because of that.
It's crazy. I mean, are we growing chickens without wings now? Because there's no shortage of the rest of the chicken.
There's some chickens down the road that get out every once in a while when I'm on my way to work. I can tell them where to find them.
Home fresh wings, as it were.
Absolutely.
All right. So the guy who on the text line said, wait a minute, hold on, I love Paul Feinbaum, texted back and said, what are you so butthurt about? You must be a Clemson fan. Guy has one of the most successful shows on ESPN and produces great content, has great guests, and it's not even a bad take. The ACC is not good at football. At this point, is that even debatable? My question is, Lonzo, was the guy listening? Because I said everything that he just said. I never said that Paul Feinbaum's show wasn't popular. I never said that the ACC wasn't a good conference. Matter of fact, I made that point that Clemson has been dominating a conference that's not been a great conference year in and year out. But that still doesn't make Feinbaum's take lame. What he said about Clemson and Dabo Swinney when the same principle applied to Alabama 2 years ago. So if you're going to listen and you're going to text, I'm going to hold you accountable for what you say because I said everything that you said in your text. Everything. Get it right. Listen.
10 seconds.
Or don't text anymore. Hour number 2 coming up with Dave Glenn. Ha!
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, W249TL Greenville, W246CV Spartanburg, WFBC-FM HD3.
An Odyssey station.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The Atlanta Braves magic number, it is down to 1 after they knock off the Phillies yesterday by a 7-2 score. Good performance from Max Fried. He pitches 7 strong innings, improving to 7-0 with a 1.46 ERA over his last 11 starts overall. He is 14-7. He allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 4 hits with no walks and 6 strikeouts. The Braves have won 9 of 11 and 1 more win. They are officially National League East champions. Braves and Phillies continue the series tonight. The Braves will have Ian Anderson on the mound. He's 8-5. Kyle Gibson will get the start for the Phillies. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Come on, kid, do it.
Oh, he did it! He got the 710, Randy!
Oh,
he did it! My goodness, the Ginger Assassin just dropped the 710. You bet, kid. You bet. Oh, man.
I wanted to be the first one to say on the air, the Ginger Assassin. Now it's been taken from me, but I couldn't say it as well as he did.
Oh, that was unreal. I want to love anything as much as that announcer loved the Ginger Assassin. As Keegan just said, I need those guys narrating my life. I need just anytime I do anything, I need that guy to kick down the door and be like, unbelievable. Rob Brown has just cooked that medium rare steak with the myoglobin to perfection. Ladies and gentlemen, believe you can.
Hey, Greenville, Spartan
Hey, Glenn, stand by.
Rob Brown Show, weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
Furman fans, join fellow Paladins in Spartanburg as Furman takes on the Wofford Terriers on Saturday, October the 9th.
Does make it more
Begins at
distinguished, for
11
sure.
a.m., runs through 1 p.m. in Wofford's parking lot G. Game kicks off at 1:30 p.m. at Gibbs
And
Stadium.
I would like mine to be
$10
female and Irish,
all-you-can-eat
just because it will
lunch is
sound angry.
included for the price. Registration for tailgate tickets closes at 10 a.m. on October the 7th on FurmanPaladins.com. That's Furman and Wofford, October 9th in Spartanburg. Come tailgate with fellow Paladin fans.
Warning.
And check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 2 of the show. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown, Lonzo in the controls. So the guy who texted me at the end and got me a little riled up when I said that everything you said I said, he texted back, Lonzo, and this is what used to drive me crazy when I was doing this on a regular basis. And I'm not picking on the guy because things happen. I understand that, but when you drop something like that, and the text line makes it a lot easier to do than having to actually call in, it helps to have Ben actually listening to what was going on. And he texted back, he said, I was not listening. I just joined in and heard you dissing my boy Paul. So he didn't hear any of the other stuff up to that point, and then chose to make his comments that he made about me. So I'll just say, in the future, it would help before you try to go hot take on somebody. Know what the conversation was about. It lends a little more credibility to what you have to say. I don't care if you disagree with me. I don't care if you think I'm an idiot one way or the other. Idiot seems to be the operative word of the day, by the way. But at least have listened to what was said before you make a comment. And I'm just giving you, because I'm not going to be here after tomorrow. Rob will be back, and Mark 3 to 7. Show them the respect of actually knowing what you're talking about before you drop a take of some kind. I know that is unique in the world of talk radio sometimes, but I'm here to try to help. I'm trying to make everyone around me better, including myself.
You need to stop speaking that foreign language. I have no idea what you just said. That's not how radio works. Come on.
Well, yeah, right. Here I am trying to apply logic to an illogical situation, right? Yeah, I get it. And you know what? The guy who's coming up with us online now, he and I are in the same vein about this, because I know the kind of talk show that he ran for years, over a decade, syndicated in North Carolina. Dave Glenn is joining us. He has covered the Atlantic Coast Conference and college sports at large for more than 3 decades and still is a strikingly young man. And he is on the guest line here to talk some college football and other things. Dave, how you doing? Lonzo, I'm not hearing Dave.
Yeah.
There he is. Now we've got him.
Yeah.
So,
hey, it's great to be with you again. And I've always said everything is relative, right? So relatively speaking, I still feel kind of young, right? And I applaud your dedication to integrity and responsibility and journalistic accountability. You know that.
Which has no place in sports talk radio.
Well, that's what they told me before I did it for 21 years. So,
right.
So there have to be exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, and you have been the exception to many rules over the years. The thing that got me kind of on that roll has an ACC tied to it. I said, and I generally believe this, but just speaking on this particular take, not necessarily in his whole body of work, but I called Paul Feinbaum an idiot because he said 2 days ago on Mike Greenberg's television show that Dabo Swinney's dynasty at Clemson was over, that it was done, that recruiting was going to fall off, the sky is falling, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, that whole thing. Ignoring the fact that the same thing happened to Alabama 2 years ago. Clemson beat them like a drum in that 2018 national championship game. They went 6-2 in the conference, didn't make the college football playoff in 2019. Everybody wondered what in the world's going on. Has Alabama's time gone? Has Nick Saban's time passed? And they win the national championship last year. So that was my basis for, in this particular instance, Paul Feinbaum being an idiot. He thinks that the Dabo Swinney dynasty is over. So I put the question to you as a guy who's covered this league for 30 years. Is Dabo Swinney's dynasty at Clemson over?
Heck no, absolutely not. And the good news about Feinbaum's take is that it is only an opinion, right? In terms of poisoning the intelligent conversation out there, the worst thing you can do is just provide false facts, right? Mm-hmm. Make up your own facts and run with them. At least if it's his opinion, he might be right. I doubt it. But if he's wrong, theoretically, smart people will hold it against anybody who's repeatedly wrong with their most outrageous hot takes, right? So again, good news that he's only butchering his opinion rather than butchering the facts, which is, more of a felony, if you will, versus a misdemeanor. But I'll call out Feinbaum in a different way. And that is, I believe he's violated another tenet of journalism. And I don't think he describes himself as a journalist. So maybe those things are connected. But Dabo Swinney doesn't go on Paul Feinbaum's show. And I'm telling you, after 21 years, Dan, you know me really, really well. Do I like the fact that Dabo Swinney came on my show almost every time I asked? Do I like the fact that Mike Krzyzewski of Duke and Roy Williams of Carolina and Tony Bennett of UVA and Leonard Hamilton of Florida State? I mean, seriously, for 20 plus years, essentially every major commissioner and head coach, at least somewhat connected to ACC country, they didn't say yes every time, but they came on. But what I can promise you I never did was go after somebody, even in part because for whatever reason, they just were not willing to be a phone guest on the David Glenn show. That is a matter of principle. That is a matter of integrity. I don't think it's a secret that whereas many of those SEC coaches often say yes to Paul Feinbaum's invitations, Dabo Swinney, I don't know the last time he said yes or if he's ever said yes or how long it's been. But I know a whole lot of coaches told me one of the main reasons they came on my show repeatedly was that I asked responsible questions, I did my homework, and I was always fair to everybody, even when I criticized people. I am certain that Paul Feinbaum does not have that reputation. To his credit, he's still been very successful. But I hope, even though I doubt it's true, that Dabo dissing the Paul Feinbaum show is not part of the reason that he's gone after Dabo and Clemson this way.
It's interesting you bring that up because 2 days ago I had Marty Brenneman on the show, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, just retired 2 years now after 46 years with the Cincinnati Reds. He's in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He's in the Reds Hall of Fame. Among the best that's ever done it. And Marty had the reputation of being very, very opinionated, a guy with a lot of candor on the air. If he thought that you weren't hustling, if he thought you were playing lousy, he did not sugarcoat it. And he had some confrontations over the years with players. And this is a quote, and I put this on Twitter when I shared the interview 2 days ago. Here's a quote from Marty Brennaman from that interview. He said this, quote, "If you're going to say something tonight that might spark some controversy, you've got to be willing to walk down the middle of the clubhouse the next day. If you don't have the guts to show up, you don't have any self-integrity at all," unquote.
I like it. And my roots are in Philadelphia, and in a context completely different than journalism. If you let your mouth run about whatever, you better be willing to walk down the playground sidewalk. You better be willing to walk down the school's hallway between classrooms. You better be able to try to walk the walk if you've been talking the talk. And I know that's not unique to Philadelphia, but it has that sort of intense reputation, and it was true in my childhood. And I've taken the same approach to journalism. It's not fun to criticize people. I take no joy in criticizing people, but the facts fall where they fall. Some teams win and coaches and players win, others lose. And sometimes the patterns are over the top, good or bad. And if you don't call out the bad, just as you hopefully celebrate and shed light on the good, well, you're not very good at your job. But you have to be able to, I always said, and you know this to be true, I never wrote anything in the pages of the ACC Sports Journal or ACCSports.com, which I created in 1994, forever ago, covering the Atlantic Coast Conference, of course. I never said anything on my show in 20 plus years, or your show as a guest for that matter. And I never wrote anything in the pages of that magazine or on that website that I would not be willing to have a conversation with this coach or that athletic director or this commissioner or this player. And it has served me well. It forces you to be more fair when you do things that way. Now, there's going to be the 1 out of 20 that you're right and you have the facts and you can back up your critical opinion, and they're still going to be mad at you. And God knows with fans, it's not 1 out of 20. It's 1 out of 20 with coaches and ADs and other decision makers. It might be, depending on the school, it could be half the fan base that's illogical and irrational and angry even when you're right. But yes, of course, if you have integrity, you have to be willing to back up what you say, and you'd be willing to have that conversation if offered by the person you're criticizing.
Yeah, I just found it very interesting that he made that comment. And we played the clip a little earlier of him saying that, and the first words out of his mouth were Dabo's dynasty is done, and then he went on to give his opinion as to why. Yeah, and that's
gets clicks and eyeballs. It works.
Exactly. And I pointed that out, after calling him an idiot. I said, just because you're an idiot doesn't mean you're also not a genius when it comes to doing what he does and being successful in what he does as long as he's done it. There's no question that he's successful. There's question that he's popular. I mean, he's on ESPN, for God's sake, after doing a radio show in the state of Alabama. So, but, I just think that there are some things in a hot take world that have to be called out when they're nonsense. And I thought that was nonsense.
Well, it's a weird time in the information age. And I think folks have to realize that a lot of times they're being sold snake oil, and they as consumers have to be smart enough to see it and realize it and penalize those who are selling snake oil.
Yeah. By the way, I'm still looking over that lakefront property in Arizona you want me to buy. Dave Glenn joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. I'm Dan Scott sitting in. Something else that you used to do on your radio talk shows, you used to talk to professional wrestlers from time to time, in and out of character. And I characterized tonight's Virginia-Miami game, Dave, as a possible loser leaves town match for the losing head coach. What do you think?
Let's see. I think Bronco Mendenhall's in a much better position than Manny Diaz. Manny is at a school that's a 5-time national champion. And even though the most recent at Miami was 2 full decades ago, they still remember the glory years of Jimmy Johnson and others. They still remember when the U was a part of the national picture almost every year. So the expectations are different. The pressure is different. Broncos' track record at BYU and even more good than bad at UVA, I think puts him in a different position no matter what happens But certainly it's a fork in the road, right? I mean, if you believe you can contend in the Coastal Division, you have to win that game, whichever uniform you're wearing. And there are several games that carry some significant weight this weekend in the ACC, not nationally. The ACC is almost an afterthought nationally, but in terms of the conference and the divisional races, we actually have two that will be interesting this time, and that hasn't been said thanks to Clemson in a long time.
You know, I said earlier when I was talking about this, you know, trying to have some fun in characterizing it that way and in reading some things about that game. There are some folks in Virginia who seem to be getting a little tired of Bronco Mendenhall. They think maybe he's peaked a little bit and things are sliding down the other side of the slope. But where Miami is concerned, I mean, I've read things where people are just flat out saying they believe Manny Diaz is in over his head as a head coach, and that if there's even the wisp of an idea, a chance that Mario Cristobal at Oregon might even think about taking the Miami job, that Diaz would be gone tomorrow.
Well, you saw recently probably Manny and others on his behalf kind of going to bat for painting the picture of what Miami as an institution has not done as well since joining the ACC more than a decade ago as it used to do when it was the place to be and they were dominating at times South Florida recruiting, and all the way back to Howard Snellenberger. You know, they were making the U a truly national brand. Manny is a straight up guy who I think is willing to accept his role in it, but the weird off campus stadium situation does them no good. Being in a city where the Dolphins are king and other pro sports matter as well, the Heat and the NBA, for example, sometimes does them no favors in the modern world. Remember, the world has changed since Miami built its dynasty starting in really the 1980s. And now there are more entertainment options than ever. You're not the game in town as often as you used to be. The marquee is just more complicated. And I think all of those things, along with that 20-year gap from the last national championship for the Hurricanes, has made it harder for any coach to just recruit the way they used to recruit. And right now, you know, De'Ara King's a fun quarterback when he's on, but the Canes just do not have the usual talent and depth that they've had, you know, at other times in their history. The good news for them, of course, is that I don't think anybody in that division is head and shoulders above anybody else. And that means even if you're a mediocre version of the Canes, you have a legitimate shot against almost anybody on your schedule, and certainly those in the Coastal Division.
Dave Glenn joining us, has covered the ACC for, as he said, and I said, over 3 decades, and college sports at large. And before we let you go, David, I want to take a big picture topic and throw at you and maybe use a little bit of your lawyer background here. I'm sure you saw the story yesterday about the memo from the National Labor Relations Board as it concerned to athletes at private universities, and that according to the memo, it's not law, but according to the memo, now the NLRB is saying that, yeah, we would offer them protection. We do believe they could organize if they wanted to. And even if they weren't a union, they would still be entitled to protection as employees of these private universities. A, your general thoughts on that, and B, why the designation between public and private?
Yeah, there are all sorts of ways that the law applies differently to public versus private. You know, for example, the First Amendment is fundamentally designed to protect you against intrusion by the government on your freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. So if you or I were a high school student and we attended a private school, they could legally restrict our speech in many more ways than if we attended a public school. So a whole bunch of bodies of law apply differently to private universities or private high schools, private and public universities and public colleges, et cetera. So that's a big part of it. The other thing I remind folks, the Department of Justice, of course, does change personnel, sometimes with presidential administrations. So what is the recommendation of this new attorney might not be the same recommendation, might not even be the same person in that position 2 or 3 years from now, right? So these things, even the law can wiggle a little bit, if you know what I'm saying. And then in the biggest picture, the future of college sports is going to come down to one of a handful of things. One is Congress getting involved and approving, which they can do legally. They could give college athletics some sort of semi-antitrust exemption where they're allowed to do this and that. Congress can write those laws. Congress doesn't agree on much of anything right now, so that option doesn't appear all that likely. And given that this past summer, the Supreme Court said any limitation on the value of an athletic scholarship the part that's tied to education, any limitation by a rule, which the NCAA has done for decades, is automatically illegal. That's what the Supreme Court said this summer. A lot of people believe the Supreme Court's gradually and eventually going to say, hey, those limitations on the athletic part of the scholarship are also illegal. So this stuff is already changing dramatically with name, image, likeness, and the Supreme Court decision and what these guys are allowed to take right now as college athletes. But there's only one of a handful of routes moving forward. One of them is unionization. One of them is another Supreme Court case. One of them is a structure adopted by Congress because I think the NCAA has given up on creating its own system in this new world because they know that every time they do that, they get sued and they usually lose.
Interesting stuff. It'll be intriguing to watch and see how this plays out. College athletics, as we used to know it, is dead. As you mentioned, it's a whole other world now. What it's going to look like in 5 years, nobody knows. But I do know this. You'll be there to cover it, and God willing, I'll be there to have you on the air to talk about it.
Amen, my friend. Always great to be with you, Dan. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, quickly, you want to tell people where they can find out more of what you do?
Yeah, the starting point for me nowadays is really Twitter, where I'm at David Glenn Show, 2 N's in Glenn, at David Glenn Show. I'm a professor at UNC Wilmington. I, of course, will always be the founder of ACCSports.com if you want to check that out. And I write fairly regularly for a North Carolina-based media outlet nowadays called chapelboro.com. chapelboro.com. I have some interesting articles on Xfinity and the ACC network, along with the usual basketball, football, and recruiting type stuff.
Good stuff, Dave. As always, buddy, thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Take care.
All right, that's Dave Glenn from all of those places he just talked about. To break, and we are open phones and texts for the rest of this hour. Hour number 3, Jason Donnelly, athletic director here at Furman, and Ivan Mizell, national college football writer who's written a book about the death of his son, Max. Can't wait for that conversation, turning a tragedy into something to help other people. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. Don't go away.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Hey, let me take a moment to talk to you about the Health Dare. Now, what is the Health Dare? The Health Dare is a plan. It's not a diet. Diets don't work. With diets, you yo-yo up and down, and a lot of times you end up weighing more when you leave the diet than you did when you started it. Well, with the Health Dare, you don't have to worry about that. The Health Dare, you're going to lose weight in 30 days, guaranteed, or your money back. You're going to look good in 30 days. You look great in 60. You're going to look phenomenal in 90 days. And one of the biggest fears when you decide to lose weight is that you're going to be hungry. Well, you're not going to have that problem with the Health Dare, because with the Health Dare, you can eat the food that's in your fridge, it's in your pantry. You can even have fast food and carbs. You know what you won't have to do? You won't have to drink some nasty, disgusting shakes. Now, there are diets out there. They will hand you a packet. In that packet is powder. You put that powder in water, and they will tell you that's a meal. It's not a meal. That's not real food. That's a drink. With the Health Dare, you don't have to worry about that. And with the Health Dare, you don't have to do it alone, because you can bring in a buddy from work, bring in a relative. It's buy one, get one free. You pay half, they pay half. You guys both get the program. You both get healthy from a cellular level. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You are going to have the energy to face the day. And here's how you get started with the Health Dare. Just go to idareme.com, fill out some information, and one of the Health Dare coaches will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. And don't forget, it's buy one, get one free. Go to idareme.com today. When you're there, make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The Carolina Panthers starting rookie Chuba Hubbard at running back this weekend as Christian McCaffrey continues to deal with a hamstring issue. But according to head coach Matt Rule, they are not going to be changing up what they do offensively simply because they don't have McCaffrey available. The Panthers and the Cowboys on Sunday. Hear it on Classic Rock 101.1. Your college football schedule for Saturday. Clemson will match up against Boston College. South Carolina has a non-conference matchup against Troy. Wofford is going to visit ETSU. And Coastal Carolina will match up against Louisiana Monroe. Off week for Furman. They get back at it a week from Saturday when they'll play at Wofford. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union. Every Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. There's the snap. It's a reverse. Quay Meadows, right side. Drive. Touchdown. Quay Meadows. It is a one-score game.
Saturday Morning Scramble. ESPN Upstate. Everywhere on the Odyssey app. Powered by Ingles Market, official grocery store of the Saturday Morning Scramble.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
No, I don't want to believe that.
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
It just doesn't.
Yes,
I don't know.
That's ZipRecruiter.com.
Is it a thick sauce? Is it like a regular barbecue sauce? That's the part that bothers me.
Why let those dishes pile up? Don't just spray clean some super fast. Just spray, rock, and rinse. If you're taking a nap, clean those bottles in a snap. Just spray, rock, and rinse.
If it's mayonnaise based, at what point does it become barbecue sauce and not mayonnaise? Is it thickness? I'm just yeah.
With Early Paycheck, you can get your direct deposit up to 2 days
Probably
earlier.
way too
That's
deep
another
of a
reason
thought
banking
about
with
it, but
Capital
you know.
One is the easiest decision ever. Even easier than deciding to open the biggest birthday gift first.
Happy birthday to you.
Which one are you going to open first?
The pony.
Yep, even easier than
Now I'm
that.
gonna have to
Plus,
find
with no
some of
fees
that.
or
I
minimums on
wonder
checking and savings
if you
accounts.
can
Is
order it.
banking with Capital One even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. No fees.
I will do some taste tests on my Saturday show sometime. That
competitive
sounds like
edge in today's
something
red
that I
hot
wouldn't
housing
mind doing.
market? Rocket can. That's because
Just 'cause it's
Rocket
weird.
Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and credit report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
It's a new season, everyone. No, not football season or the fall. It's the season to change up your stale wardrobe. And that's where the new Stitch Fix Freestyle comes in. Listen, we've all probably let our own personal style fall off a bit for over a year now. But Stitch Fix Freestyle is a highly personalized shopping experience that allows you to discover and instantly buy clothing and accessories based specifically on your style preferences and fit. So get those new looks for any occasion today. Head to StitchFix.com to get started.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your
There you
overhead.
go.
That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Opinions wanted.
Well, opinions are like, well, say everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 2 continues. Matter of fact, we are almost exactly at the halfway point of the show. We're approaching 1:30 Eastern time. A lot of college football this weekend. 2 biggest games across the country in the Southeastern Conference. Arkansas and Georgia. Ole Miss, Alabama. Both of those teams, talking about Arkansas and Ole Miss, looking to make statements this week. Be intriguing to see how those games play out. Let's see. I'm Dan Scott, by the way, voice of the Furman Paladins, continuing to guest host for Rob Brown this week. Tomorrow on the show, besides a lot of college football, with Major League Baseball's regular season winding down this weekend and a heck of a wild card race still yet to be decided in the American League, we are going to throw in a couple of baseball guests. Bob Kipper, who spent 8 years in the big leagues and is the pitching coach for the Greenville Drive. He's going to join us tomorrow. And then I mentioned this yesterday, I think, when I got it solidified. Jeff Baker, former Clemson standout, and he spent more than a decade in the big leagues. He's going to join us tomorrow as well. But a lot of college football, maybe some NFL talk as well, maybe some NFL even tonight with the Bengals and the Jags on Thursday Night Football. On the text line, one listener says Feinbaum is an idiot, can't stand that guy. And then somebody else texted and said, just wanted to say that to your take on USC earlier there, and then it stopped. So I don't know where they were going, so I can't really respond to it. If you may want to try to finish the text and tell me what you were saying.
I was going to say, if you look around, sometimes texts start and then if it's a long text, it continues on. And if it doesn't have ESPN in the front, if you have it on the certain setting, then you can't see the second part.
Yeah, well, ESPN is on the front of this one, and it doesn't finish anywhere else, and it's not a particularly long text, like some of the others.
Well, I hope they weren't texting and driving.
Yes, because we did hear from somebody yesterday who had been hit by an 18-wheeler, if you remember, and had checked in with us after getting out of ICU. At least that's what they said. And I've lost my train of thought, which is not all that surprising for people who know me. The number's 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. The text line, keyword ESPN, to 71307, 71307. A lot of activity there. Would love to take some of that activity to the phone lines while we've got some time the rest of this hour, because we've got 2 guests coming up in the next hour. Jason Donnelly, the AD here at Furman, and national college football writer Ivan Mizell, here to talk about his upcoming book about the death of his son, Max. And I'm really looking forward to that interview because, as I said, and as I told him when I messaged him 2 days ago to set up the interview, anytime I see anybody who's willing to take a personal tragedy and use it in a very public way to try to help other people, I'm all over it. So I can't wait for this conversation with Ivan Mizell. We may get to some football, just to warn you, we may not, because the main reason he's here is to talk about his book that's coming out on October the 26th, and that's coming up in the next hour. The text line is an interesting concept in talk radio, and at least for me this week, and Lonzo, you can tell me if this is the case on a regular basis when Rob is here hosting his own show as well. And I don't know how much weight he puts on actually taking phone calls on a day-to-day basis. So, the information could be skewed in one direction or the other. But just in general, adding a text line to a talk radio show is like, well, adding the ability to text instead of call somebody. It's taken a lot of that personal interaction out of your day-to-day life, because and I'm guilty. I have gotten to the point where I'd much rather text somebody than talk to them most of the time. It's easier. And sometimes it's easier for both parties. Sometimes you just don't want to deal with somebody, and it's easier to shoot them a message. Sad but true.
I think you should. One thing you need to take into account is time of day, because this time of day, a lot of the interaction we're getting are from people who are at work and they can't actually call in because they don't want to get in trouble with their bosses, but they can shoot a text our way. So
I did 11 years, 9 to noon without a text line, and the phones
well done.
All rang.
It's 1:35. It's not noon. It's
I understand.
The biggest volume of calls is between 12 and 1 normally, because lunchtime, classic lunchtime.
I got you.
Afterwards. And I think radio, whether it's good or not, on all talk radio, I've noticed a trend towards the text line.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, anything you can do to allow people to interact is fine.
And you got to throw social media in there also.
Absolutely. But I'm just asking the question, are we heading down that slope where we're on a quote unquote talk radio show where there are open phones? Is the text going to replace the call completely?
I don't know about completely, but I think for the most part it has. I've been in talk radio for 24 years and been over at our sister station WORD for over 21. And I have noticed a trend once the text line and once social media came in, calls will dwindle. Unless it's a really, really hot topic, you're not going to get as many phone calls. And I think it's easier for a lot of hosts to just go with the text line also, because you can pick and choose. Now, not everyone does that. Some people, like Mark Ryan, will read every single text.
Well, and that's what I've tried to do here. I'm trying to be as open and inviting and whatever word you want to use. I'm not vulnerable by any stretch of the imagination, but to integrate myself into this audience. So I'm reading everything that comes up, even things that, why are we talking about barbecue sauce, for instance? Okay, I'll play the game. I figure it's my initiation for hosting the show. The food question of the day. We've gotten one every day for me that has apparently been a topic on this show. I'm fine with that. I'm cool. I can play along, and I don't mind the text line. It's a great addition. My question was, and I think you just answered it. By and large, has it maybe not completely taken the place of, but has it significantly cut down on the number of phone calls you get on a talk? And look, there are some talk show hosts that would much rather hear themselves talk and never talk to somebody on the phone. But, everybody has their own way they do things. I was just curious as to how things normally run on this show. Are people avoiding the phones because I'm here? Or is this pretty normal for what goes on from noon to 3? And it sounds like it's pretty normal. So take that for what it's worth.
It is a normal thing. Sorry, I was screening a phone call.
That was a statement I wanted you to respond to, by the way. And again, in no way am I begging for phone calls. I don't really care. It's just been interesting over the course of this show to see how much traffic there's been on the text line and none on the phones. So very interesting.
Except for now.
Because we have Ray who wants to talk some baseball. And Ray, the quickest way to get on any show I'm talking about or I'm hosting is to want to talk baseball. So welcome to the Rob Brown Show, hosted by Dan Scott.
I know if people haven't figured it out yet, you are definitely a baseball guy.
I try.
Hey, I was just want to get your take on the Braves. Now, I know you got the Giants and Dodgers, and the Cardinals are playing great ball now. I don't know how many they've won in a row. And I think we haven't clinched it yet, but I'm assuming we will with, just one game left to win. But do you think with Morton and Max Fried pitching the way they are that we stand a chance in a 5-game series?
Well, do you stand a chance? Yeah. The biggest question with the Braves is going to be, I think, the question that they've had all year long, and that's going to be the bullpen. Because as well as the starters are throwing, and man, you look at what they've done the last 2 games, what Fried did last night off of what had taken place the night before. in the Phillies. Their starters have pitched, 14 innings and allowed 1 earned run in this series with the Phillies. Yep. I mean, that's just been phenomenal. And Ray, if you know anything about me, I can't stand the Braves. So for me to say anything positive about the Braves, they have to be doing something right. But all joking aside, I think their starting pitching is fine. I think offensively they're fine. The question with them is going to be their bullpen. And when push comes to shove against the better teams, and the deeper you go into the playoffs, theoretically, the teams are going to get better. Can their bullpen get big outs when they need to get them out? And if I were a Braves fan, that's the thing that would worry me.
I know. I know Will Smith's got 30-something saves, but he'll give you a heart attack. There's never an easy save. He never has a 1, 2, 3, rarely. And look at Melanson. He's leading the National League. I mean, I can't understand why they got rid of him anyway.
Well, you know what he reminds me of is what Earl Weaver, his nickname for Don Stanhouse, used to be when Stanhouse was pitching there in the late 70s and early 80s, and he was the Orioles closer, because he was very much the same way. Stanhouse would pitch himself into a jam and then was very adept at pitching himself out of it late, in ninth innings, late in ball games. And Earl Weaver started calling him full pack. And somebody asked him why, and he said, because he makes me so nervous, I smoke a full pack of cigarettes in the dugout in the ninth inning. So Don Stanhouse's nickname became full pack. That's kind of the same thing that's going on in Atlanta right now.
Yeah. All right, Dale, I appreciate it. Good to hear your voice in Upstate again.
All right, Ray. Thank you, brother. It is 1:41. We need to get to a break. Couple of segments left in this hour. And then, as mentioned, Jason Donnelly, Ivan Mizell, back-to-back guests in the top of hour number 3. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. Lonzo running the show. Back in a moment.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com. From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Oh, it's doing great. I've been on it now for about 3 and a half years. I've lost 67 pounds, and I feel better than I did at age 40. The only thing I'm just getting older. That's the only thing it doesn't stop. Other than that, I feel good.
Listen, we're all getting older, but that doesn't mean you have to feel your age. Are you ready to turn back the clock? It's 2021, and there's never been a better time to start looking and feeling young again. Introducing Andro400.com. Andro400.com has proven solutions to melt belly fat, increase mood and memory, increase energy, and bring that spark back to your love life. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435 to see which product is right for you. Try the safe and natural way to start feeling and looking your best. And there's nothing to lose with an industry-leading 90-day money-back guarantee. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly.
Sorry, Dan, I didn't have it in queue.
I tried learning Spanish before, but
Rob is
on
the line calling from the top of the World Trade Center.
Hablamos español.
He just said now he speaks Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Well, I think so.
Babbel,
possibly.
Language for life. Celebrating 10
Not every day you get a call from someone on top of the World Trade Center.
For free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today.
They're going to a ton of places.
Babbel.com.
And we've got
Did you know that United
a minute and a
Healthcare
half.
helps connect you to doctors and therapists with 24/7 access to virtual care?
So I could have therapy from my couch?
Yep.
Or a doctor appointment from my car?
If you wanted to.
Wait, you're right. I don't even like when people see me sing in the car. Couch appointment it is. Virtual visits are just one of the ways United Healthcare helps connect you to better health. Learn more at uhc.com. Plan benefits may vary.
Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Before last year, some things were low on our to-do list, but life insurance can no longer be one of them, especially now. Your family is your #1 priority, and if you're like me with a wife and kids, you need to protect them. Life insurance provides peace of mind. It can help pay off a mortgage or even send the kids to college. Now, you don't want just anyone for this. You need a pro. You need SelectQuote. SelectQuote has been around for over 35 years, and over 2 million families have trusted them. SelectQuote comparison shops highly rated insurance companies like Prudential, Banner Life, Mutual of Omaha, and others to impartially find you the company with the best rates. Their technology quickly matches your individual needs with the best insurance company to find your best policy. They do the bulk of the work for you, so there's no excuse to wait on protecting your family's future, and you'll be surprised how affordable a policy can be. Plus, quotes are free. Don't put this off another day. Get your free quote today. Call 800-881-6868. That's 800-881-6868, or go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 2 winding on. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. Again, Jason Donnelly, Furman AD, top of hour number 3. And then National College Football writer Ivan Mizell will join us at 2:20-ish. And he is going to be talking about the new book he's written, I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, a memoir of loss, grief, and love, a book that he has written about the suicide of his son, Max, taking a personal tragedy and turning it into something to try and help other people. That's coming up in the next hour. You know, there's an old saying that when the cat's away, the mice will play, or when the principal is away, the students, inmates run the asylum. Every now and again, the principal checks back in. We're going to the phone lines because Rob Brown, the guy whose name is on this show, is on the phone checking in with us to make sure that he still has a show to come back to next week. How are you, man?
I'm living the dream, but I got to tell you, I've never really been known as the guy who embraces the rules. So I don't know that the principal analogy works out well. But, you know, I do want to make sure that I called in. I still have a job to come back to on Monday from the great upstate of New York City.
Well, here's the thing. You will have a job. I don't think there's any question about that. But, you know, the promo that plays coming into your segments from time to time about having the best talk show in the state of South Carolina, the question I've been asking all week is, will it still be the best in South Carolina after my week is done? That will be the litmus test. So,
listen, I know. I mean, listen, you don't come back and just turn on the mic and fill the shoes of the voice of the Furman Paladin.
Right.
That's not how it works for me. Let's be honest. After a week of Dan Scott, I'm coming back on Monday, and we're starting back at ground zero. I got to rebuild this whole show just to try to match half of the broadcaster you are, my man.
Right. Yeah. You wrote that or read that just like I wrote it. Hey, I've got to. I got to tell you too, just in the interest of full disclosure, when on Monday's show, I initially gave you a hard time for having the audacity in the South to take a vacation in the middle of college football season. And then Lonzo told me where you were going. And when I threw up a quick mea culpa after that, after I heard where you were going. So I just wanted to publicly say, I apologize.
No apology necessary. Trust me, I had the same reaction, but the great Dan Scott, when you got a pretty girl that says, hey, I booked this tickets to go to New York and Boston and Connecticut. And oh, by the way, on top of that, I got you tickets to go watch the Yankees and the Red Sox play at Fenway. And oh, by the way, I got you tickets to take an elevator to the top of the New World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower, which is actually, as a matter of fact, where I am standing talking to you. I am 1,776 feet up in the air at the top of the Freedom Tower. looking down at Manhattan while I called you, Dan Scott, to share. But yeah, when the pretty girl says I got baseball tickets in Boston and tickets to go to the tallest man-made structure in the Western Hemisphere, and all you got to do is get on a plane with me, Dan Scott, you can't say no to that, or you'd be a fool to do so.
I have been married for 32 years, Rob, and the old saying is true: happy wife, happy life. So
yeah, she put this whole thing together. It's been an incredible trip. I'm there's obviously a part of me I've been watching with what happened to Clemson against NC State last weekend, with South Carolina dropping a game that I said last week was a must-win game to Kentucky. The AL and wild card games are coming down to the wire. We're just a couple of days away from that. I mean, I'm excited to get back and get back to talking some sports with the folks of the Upstate. But sometimes, Mr. Scott, you just need a perspective shift. And when you're standing at the top, as a matter of fact, as I'm looking down to my left right now, I'm looking down at ground zero. I'm looking down at the two basically holes in the ground with the memorials built around them. And sometimes it's just nice to get a little bit of a perspective shift about life as a whole. And this has been a good one. So I'm looking forward to getting back on Monday, but it's been an incredible trip. And I appreciate you sitting in and holding down the fort for me and doing the hard job, my man.
Well, you before you go, you said perspective, and I talk about that all the time. And we have Ivan Mizell, you may have heard, coming up in the next hour about the book he's written following the suicide of his son back in 2015. Just an incredible tragedy he's using to help other people. You do this long enough, and we make our living in sports. You do it as a talk show host. I do it as the broadcaster at Furman and all these other things. We can get in a fishbowl. But every now and again, we get those reminders that there are things bigger and more important than who wins and who loses a game. You're looking down on one now. I'm going to be talking to a guy in the next hour who's going to be a reminder of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. When we turned the corner walking up from the Battery, and we turned the corner to first see those two holes in the ground and those two memorials in the museum, and then look up at the World Trade Center, the new Freedom Tower, which I kind of love in that it's a metaphor for just standing in the face of that adversity. And I started, as a sports guy, I started having flashbacks to those first few games back after 9/11, that first Yankees game where in the World Series where George W. Bush got the first pitch, and that first Yankees game back in New York, and the first Rangers-Islanders game where both teams, instead of wearing their team logos, wore those sweaters that said New York. And I thought about all those great sports moments that kind of helped us recover after that moment. But to stand here, because, and in fact, I was telling the girlfriend earlier, when you're standing next to this tower where World Trade Center once used to be, and you're replaying the events of 9/11, and you can't. She looked at me and she said, it's interesting because we saw, for instance, Bunker Hill earlier this week in Boston, where the Battle of Bunker Hill took place, which is interesting to think about and have that perspective shift on history. But we watched this event play out. We watched it happen, and we watched the death and destruction and the terror of that day. And to stand where it happened and to replay those images in your mind of what happened that day and be able to look at them, it really does kind of put into perspective the fact that sports are just sports, but also they're a part of living that life that we are so lucky and so blessed to have in this country, and to be able to put not just put my elbows, but put my hands down and run them over the names of those people who died that day is it's life-changing, man. I encourage anybody who's listening, whoever gets a chance to come up here to experience it, do it. It's very solemn when you're on the ground, but when you get up this high and you're looking out at 4 different states and in this gigantic city and watching the signs of life go on, it just reminds you that there are bigger things. But we celebrate. We celebrate in the face of tragedy, and we keep pushing forward. Ivan Mizell's a great example of that. But I encourage anybody who can get up here and come see this to do it, because it will change your life. Absolutely.
Tom Van Hoy always says, as we say goodbye, that if life is a department store, we work in the toy department. And I think that pretty much says it all.
Fact, my man.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. Get back here safe.
Absolutely. I'm going to do it. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks for listening. Lonzo, miss your brother. I will see you guys on Monday.
That's Rob Brown calling into the Rob Brown Show. We'll take a break, come back. Very quick segment to the top of the hour after this.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Yeah, because I don't think we're coming back.
Halloween. I know, but Rob, you said you hate to be scared. I know I do, but there's something I love about the psychological
maybe,
side of
but you
things,
got 5
and
minutes
that
either
is
way. So yeah,
why
you got time.
Mad World must be on your Halloween activities list. It is routinely voted the #1 haunted attraction in South Carolina, one of the top haunts around the United States, and one trip to Mad World, and you will see why. It is their most expansive haunt to date this year. Not only are there haunted houses, not your grandma's haunted houses, these are terrifying, but they have got the haunted woods. They've got more scare sets, more actors, more props, more dynamic experiences than ever before. Do me a favor. Go to madworldattractions.com. Madworldattractions.com. Not only can you get a little background about what you're going to experience at Mad World, but you can get your tickets now. Don't wait until Halloween and stand in line. And trust me, there are lines because Mad World is awesome. Go to madworldattractions.com. Get your tickets now and check out the 2021 version of the scariest attraction in South Carolina. It's Mad World.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, a high around 87. And for tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Friday, partial sunshine develops, high of 82 degrees. And for the weekend, sunshine, highs in the 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 83.
Ian Eagle here from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. From Cincinnati, Mike Golick and I will have the call when last year's top draft pick, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, play host to this year's top pick, Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can the Jaguars claim their first win, or will the Bengals start the year 3-1? Join us to find out on Thursday Night Football.
Tonight at 8, the NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out.
Hopefully an answer.
Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or
Never
call us today.
look to Rob to pronounce something correctly.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis.
Remember, he says alarm. I don't know how. I thought it was Mizell, but yeah.
Hey, it's Bill Donovan, General Manager of Breakaway.
So we'll come back for about 30
With
seconds.
record sales of new Hondas, we have had a tremendous amount of cars traded in. Right now, we have our best selection of pre-owned vehicles. We have cars from $5,000 to luxury vehicles.
I moved the
And we have
Furman
the
promo
Upstate
to the
best
top of the
selection
hour.
certified
I just
Hondas as
thought,
well. Plus,
I'd be
we
okay
have
with it.
finance rates from 1.9% on select certified Hondas. Come see us now at Breakaway Honda, 330 Woodward Road, or breakawayhonda.com.
Restrictions may apply. Plans and costs for coverage may vary. Call Protect My Car for details. Look, money's tight for everyone right now. It's been a tough year, and you sure don't need to get hit with a big, unexpected bill. Like, what if your car breaks down right now? How are you paying the bill? If it's your transmission, that's over $3,000. Your engine, up to $6,000. Even minor repairs like your air conditioning can hit your wallet hard. Here's the good news. If you have a car, truck, or SUV that's $19.99 or newer, you can stop paying for repairs right now. That's right. With Protect My Car, when your car breaks down, we pay your repair bill for you. Just dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone now to get started. Protect My Car pays for repairs to your engine, transmission, air conditioning, suspension, and so much more. Dial 800-279-2827 and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Dial 800-279-2827 and never pay for car repairs again. Dial 800-279-2827.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. That means you can get up to a
You know what? I changed my mind. There's not enough time to come back. I'm just going to take it to the top.
purchase of your Superstart battery. Return power, performance, and reliability to your car, truck, motorcycle, and more with Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, a college football utopia. Fansville. Where the lakes are stocked with ice-cold Dr. Pepper, and the autumn winds rustle with the sweet smell of football glory. And Dr. Pepper. It's a land flowing with onion dip, where even the food pyramid is shaped like a hot dog. Where every yard gained is a yard worth celebrating, and every celebration is beyond excessive. With ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper. Grab some today.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins football. The Paladins are back in action against the Wofford Terriers. Saturday, October 9th. Pre-game at noon, kickoff at 1:30. Every play, every game on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app. Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
He covers college football for the Sporting News. His name is Bill Bender. Shane Beamer, South Carolina, comes in at number 66. Did his recruiting prowess and anything you've seen factor into perhaps maybe having him at 66?
I know from living down in the area in Charlotte, once upon a time got to cover some high school ball down in the area. If he recruits South Carolina well, then he could have some success there.
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan. Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate. ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFBC FM HD3.
An Odyssey station.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The NASCAR weekend begins on Saturday this week at Talladega Superspeedway, as the trucks in the Xfinity Series will each run on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the Cup Series in action. This is the second of 3 races in the round of 12. After the next 2 races, the current playoff field of 12 drivers will be cut down to 8. So far, only 1 driver has advanced to that round of 8. That's Denny Hamlin. The other drivers who are currently above the cut line: Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski.
Jason Dudley standing by.
Below the cut line: William Byron, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, and Christopher Bell. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North
I didn't want to come back
America's
for
most popular
10
sports
seconds and then have
With
to
your
jump right back
ESPN
out.
Upstate
And it's
Sports
just,
Center update,
it was
I'm
better
Matt
this way.
Pauley.
And we can blame Rob if there's a problem. Yeah. But there won't be a problem. We're good.
You heard the Rob Brown Show?
Roger Goodell is such a clown. I'm shocked his nose isn't circular and red. All right. My entire career, have interviewed many people that I don't like or disagree with, but I'm respectful and I'm courteous and I'll have the conversation with them. If we ever get the opportunity to interview Roger Goodell, he will get his intro music, Lonzo, and it will go because he's a clown.
When that happens on that day, I will delegate that somebody else produce the show.
I will produce it my damn self.
I don't want to be a part of the backlash. I will listen, though.
It will be the shortest interview Roger Goodell's ever done. Ladies and gentlemen, on the phone line now, Roger Goodell. Click.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg. Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate. Keep up to date with every Upstate high school football game in real time with the ESPN Upstate score stream at ESPNUpstate.com. Set up a profile, create your feed, and follow your favorite teams. Know when the big plays happen and when the games go final. The ESPN Upstate score stream. Get all the high school football scores in one place at ESPNUpstate.com. Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show. Not hosted by Rob Brown. I am Dan Scott, hanging out with you all week long and having a blast doing it. Hope that you're enjoying the show. Mark Ryan is coming up from 3 to 7. Lonzo, we figured out which angles he's going to be at yet?
No, that required effort that I just didn't put forth.
Okay, I just making sure.
It's Mark Ryan after all.
Making sure you're being consistent.
Thank you.
Coming up in the next segment, Ivan Mizell, the college football writer, longtime ESPN, now at on3.com, is going to join us. We may talk a little college football, but we're mostly going to be talking about his new book that comes out on the 26th of October about his son Max and his son's suicide. Again, using a personal tragedy to try and help other people. That's coming up in the next segment. Right now, though, we are going back to the celebrity guest line and welcoming in my boss here at Furman, a guy who's generated an awful lot of excitement in Paladin country. Jason Donnelly, the athletic director, is here. Boss, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Dan, how you doing? How are you?
I'm doing fine. I get to run my mouth for a living, so it's not like I'm digging ditches or anything else.
I love it. You're getting a little moonlighting in, and we love the exposure for Furman, and we love Dan Scott, the voice of the Paladins, out on the air. It's great for us. It's great for you.
Well, it's been fun, as I said. I saw something, and you can tell me if the number is right, but I saw something online that the attendance at the first 2 Furman football games, home games this season, is up over 58% from what we had comparably the first 2 games of the 2019 season. How accurate that number is, I don't know, but I can tell you in the time that I've been here, we've had 2 crowds of over 10,000 back-to-back home games. That's never happened in my previous 10 seasons here, and a lot has to do with the game day experience that you've brought here to Paladin Stadium.
And Dan, I appreciate it. I mean, there's so much of what we're trying to do, and the credit first goes to Furman, our fans, our season ticket holders, our alumni. We're really lucky. The last 2 weekends have been beautiful weather, beautiful weekends in Greenville. And as you know, and the things that we've talked about, our commitment since I've been here has really been focused on being Greenville's team. The things that you've seen around Furman in terms of initiatives that we're taking on and the challenges that we have to work through have been pretty clear to build a fan base, to build our brand, to market and energize within Greenville, and to really be a great option for everyone that wants to support college athletics. We've got a great football program led by Clay Hendricks, and great history and tradition in terms of being a part of Greenville. And one of the things I noticed when I got here was this great connection to downtown Greenville. And when you talk to people that supported the Furman Paladins for a long time, they'll talk about playing downtown Memorial Hall. They'll talk about playing at Serene Stadium. So the history and tradition is there, and we're working on getting that back. Fortunately, we've been able to put a lot of work into our game day experience to be able to enhance it for all of our fans. The experience starts first with the work that we've done around the stadium and building an infrastructure for the team to be successful on and off the field. And then the second part of the initiative has really been to focus on our internal community here at Furman. We've got a lot of great feedback from our students in terms of what was important to them, the type of things that they wanted to do regarding game day, regarding tailgating. Got the same feedback we had with regards to our season ticket holders, and then the growth that we want to experience with our fans. So I think when you see the large crowds, it starts first with a great base around the team. The second part of it is it's a great passion amongst our Furman community. And I think the third part, as you're beginning to see, is that more people are experiencing Furman athletics because they're being brought in. And this game day experience is awesome. I would encourage anyone that wants to come out to be a part of it. On a game day, we start 3 hours before game time, and there's everything out there from the Ingalls concert series with some of the premium artists that are out playing, and the food trucks and the bouncy castles and the band that we have, and the dance and the cheer and the energy. And really, I think a lot of it also is a great tribute to our people. People just want to get back together. They want to have a great time, and they want to socialize. They want to see each other. So this return from COVID of what we went through last year has really brought a lot of energy back around the stadium and around it. And then great partners such as ESPN Upstate. One of the things I've shared with you, this was your idea. You said, if we get a chance to get on ESPN Upstate, the marketing and the branding for our football program and our basketball program to be on the premier station that everyone listens to. I listen to it too. So I love the fact that you're subbing for Rob, because I know how many people are listening in and enjoying, being a part of this experience. But just really good strategic partners such as ESPN Upstate, Ingalls, BMW, that are supporting Furman athletics in the way that they do.
Yeah, it was funny. After the opening weekend, one of the things we talked about as an external team was all of a sudden we had to deal with traffic problems of people trying to get into the stadium because of all of the excitement coming about. And I was like, hallelujah, Pinocchio, you're a real boy now. Welcome to the rest of college football, right? That's a great problem to have.
It's a great problem to have when you're sitting in meetings and you're trying to figure out how do we alleviate lines with regards to parking. How do we shorten, the wait time at concession stands? How do you handle the volume of seats? How do you ensure that the stadium is safe for so many people to be there? And how do you give a first-class experience? And I think, Dan, your role is really unique because not only are you the voice of the Paladins, but you're also in the marketing meetings. You're also a part of the creativity and all the planning that goes on. So they talk about, what makes the sausage in college athletics. If you get to see what's going on from within, and you really get to see the points of emphasis that we're trying to promote. And we know that we're a unique brand. We know that in this marketplace that we're not Clemson and we're not South Carolina when it comes to FBS football. But the niche that we are with FCS football and the Furman Paladins, and the niche that we are with our basketball programs and our national profile with all of our athletic programs, we truly believe as a private institution in Greenville that we represent the best of what college athletics is all about. We've got true student athletes that are achieving in the classroom, in the community, on the court, on the field, with nationally ranked programs across the board. So it's a really fun, family-friendly opportunity for people. And feedback we get around the games is that this is a great chance to get close to the game, get close to the athletes, have a great time with your friends and your family, and just experience college football at a different level, but with a really strong investment in terms of what we're trying to promote.
Yeah, FurmanPaladins.com for all your ticket needs, by the way, and we still have 3 home games remaining in this college football season. You mentioned, we're visiting with Jason Donnelly, the athletic director here at Furman. You mentioned the emphasis on reestablishing that connection and that history as Greenville's team. And one of the first steps you took when you got here, going back 2 years ago, was to take the basketball program back downtown to Bon Secours Wellness Arena, weekends at the Well. Played 3 games there, had incredible success. We're supposed to do it last year, but COVID short-circuited those. 3 games on the schedule, 4 if you count a men's, women's doubleheader on one of those. Getting a chance to get back down there and playing in that arena, the excitement that it generated 2 seasons ago was phenomenal. And I can't wait to see what it's going to look like this time around.
Yeah, to me, this was one of these things when I was assessing the job, to me is almost a no-brainer. I mean, we have an opportunity here in Greenville with premier basketball programs that compete against the best in the country. I mean, I had the misfortune of being on the other side of the Furman-Villanova game when Furman came into Villanova and beat the defending national champions when I was working there. And the exposure that gave to Furman University, to Furman athletics, to Furman basketball is one of many wins that program's had that puts it on a national caliber. And when you go back to the days of Joe Williams and you look at what that experience was for our fan base, the thing that people keep talking about is what was it like to have games in downtown Greenville? I think the NCAA tournament that was here when Duke and South Carolina were here gave everyone a taste of what it can be in the Bon Secours Arena. The Bon Secours Arena, the Well, has been a great partnership for us. And that gives us an opportunity to bring Furman basketball downtown, to play in an environment that is a first-rate arena with all the bells and whistles and the experiences that come with it, in a town that really supports professional and college sports. And we're huge fans of the Drive, and we're huge fans of the Triumph, and we're huge fans of the Swamp Rabbits. And we want to be that team in basketball in Greenville that people come out to support and get behind. The 3 games we had 2 years ago before the COVID year, each one built upon each other. You know, each game, the attendance grew. And kind of the cap finale for us was the Wofford game with a packed lower bowl and a last second shot by Mike Bothwell to beat the Terriers, and our students storming the floor, and just this great euphoria experience for our fans, for our basketball program in terms of what that is. But that's really something we want to build on. As we continue to build on the weekends at the Well, the goal is to get to the point, and I've done this on the other side of scheduling, to attract a Power 5 or a Big East program that's going to come in and to play a game against us on our home turf in Greenville. And the ability to attract an opponent that can get national attention for Greenville and national attention for the Furman Paladins and have a chance to play them. Because those teams, no matter what you do, they're not playing you in Timmons Arena. They're just not going to schedule a game because that home court advantage that Timmons offer you is something they're just not going to take on. But they will consider, and they are considering, playing us in downtown Greenville and playing us in an NCAA tournament environment that is good for them in terms of their preparation, and it's good for us in terms of hosting those games. So we've got a really clear plan about what we want to do. If there's anything we could ask of the Greenville community would be come out to a Furman Paladins football game and consider seeing our team play in the Bon Secours Arena this upcoming year.
Jason, you're always good about answering questions from fans, and this one came in via the text line while we were talking, and was asking if there's a possibility, if there's ever been any conversation about maybe allowing local high school teams or maybe championship type football events to be played at Latham Stadium.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're at a point where any facility on our campus is something that we're open to, and that's part of the growth that we're doing from our infrastructure standpoint. The challenge for Furman as a small private liberal arts and sciences institution is we're a tuition-based institution. So we are relying on the tuition that comes off of our student body to pay for a Division I athletics program. And then the responsibility for us is to drive revenue, to build external relationships, and to drive fundraising in order for us to be successful. And fortunately, we've got a really good plan to do that. Some of the assets that we have that maybe have been underutilized would be opportunities for outside teams and outside opportunities on our campus. And any of the facilities that we have would be opportunities to go about and do that. We know what those assets are, and it's up to us to start to share those things and open up our doors to Greenville. One of the things that we talk about a lot as an institution with our leadership is making that connection between Furman's campus and between downtown Greenville, because ultimately success with our athletic department is going to help our university achieve their larger goals, which is at the end of the day, great exposure for the university, jobs, internships, connections, community partnership, community service. And there's a larger mission at place here. So if we're able to use Latham, we would love to do that. And we spent some time, just kind of resettling coming out of COVID with regards to our facilities, but we've gotten to a point that we're getting closer to enabling all the opportunities for people to be on this campus so they can enjoy that and be a part of the great history and tradition in these facilities that we have here at Furman.
About 2 minutes left. We're visiting with Jason Donnelly, the Furman athletic director. Speaking of facilities, $3 million upgrade was recently announced to Timmons Arena, which is still ongoing, with the locker room portion being kind of the last piece of that. I know that's something else that was high on your priority list and something else you're starting to check off.
Yeah, that was something we started from day one when I got here, was just an assessment of facilities here on campus. And we do have championship level facilities in every sport. And I would say the one area that we're lacking is just Timmons Arena. It's just gotten dated. It's nothing this or that. It's a great home court environment. But in terms of competing at the top of the conference, I think our head coach, Bob Ritchie, says it really well. You can't have top three expectations and have a bottom three facility in the league that we're competing in. And that's just a true statement relative to where we are. We've been fortunate. We have very generous donors who believe in what we're trying to accomplish and where we're trying to go. And we've done an overall assessment on Timmons in terms of the work that we need to do, both from the short term and the long term. So on the long term, we're working on a larger scale renovation of the arena. There's more information to be coming about that, but there's a process that you go through as an institution. But what we were fortunate able to do, we focused on phase one of our existing infrastructure, the locker rooms, the film rooms, the offices, spaces that we currently have, and we were able to renovate those spaces with $3 million of renovations from outside sources. And this came from several different people. And many of these people believe in the larger vision of where we're headed with the arena as a whole. So Bob Ritchie and Jackie Carson from our women's basketball program, they're very happy about the upgrades that have been taking place and are going to continue to be taking place this fall. And I know our teams are really fired up about it. The key thing to understand for the public is that we're really trying to accomplish three different things. Recruiting matters, and facilities matter, and recruiting. And if we're going to go up against the teams that we're competing to be against in the NCAA tournament, we've got to have the amenities that fit the program, in addition to the work that we do on campus academically and the player development and the alumni network we have. The other piece is important is retention, particularly when you go through a process where the increase of transfers with the transfer portal, or just retaining coaches and talent with regards to our staff. The final piece of this is to get to the point where there's a revenue generation that comes from the basketball programs that can offset some of the expenses we have relative to operating a first-class athletic department. So it's part of a larger strategy to get Furman athletics to be funded and subsidized to allow us to be successful and sustainable for long term. And this is one of those big steps towards doing that.
There's no question. There's an awful lot going on here on Furman's campus. And as COVID has loosened its grip on us a little bit, to see some of these plans finally coming to fruition and to see the way our fans have responded, like you said just a moment ago, has been phenomenal. And we just plan on it continuing. We don't hope. We plan on it continuing to get better and better and better. Boss, thank you so much. Enjoyed it, as always.
Dan, thank you. Truly appreciate everything you do for the Furman Paladins.
Well, okay, that is Jason Donnelly, the athletic director here at Furman. When we come back, I've been waiting on this one. Ivan Mizell will join us, talk about his new book and taking a personal tragedy and using it as a way to help others. He'll join us when we return on The Rob Brown Show. I'm Dan Scott. Don't go away.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. The Atlanta Braves magic number, it is down to 1 after they knock off the Phillies yesterday by a 7-2 score. Good performance from Max Fried. He pitches 7 strong innings, improving to 7-0 with a 1.46 ERA over his last 11 starts overall. He is 14-7. He allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 4 hits with no walks and 6 strikeouts. The Braves have won 9 of 11 and 1 more win. They are officially National League East champions. Braves and Phillies continue the series tonight. The Braves will have Ian Anderson on the mound. He's 8-5. Kyle Gibson will get the start for the Phillies. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
The Burns Rebels play on ESPN Upstate.
This Friday night, the Rebels return to action as they host the Spartanburg Vikings to begin region play. It's Spartanburg at Burns Friday night on ESPN Upstate.
Powered by your local Ingles Market.
Got a question for you. Do you know a strike from a split? Well, sounds like you're perfect for the Stone Man Bad Bowlers Club. Hey, it's the Stone Man, and for the next 8 weeks, every Thursday night, we're going to be hitting the lanes or the gutters over at Spare Time Entertainment on Congaree Road. Bring your team or just bring yourself, and don't worry if you're not that good. It's called the Bad Bowlers Club for a reason. Come join us. Get on over to ClassicRock1011.com/bowl right now. At ClassicRock1011.com/bowl to sign up. The Stone Man Bad Bowlers Club, only at Spare Time Entertainment on Congaree Road, sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
Wonderful product. I've lost 111 pounds using that product. 111 pounds. You could not believe the difference. I went from a size 48 pant to a 33 pant, and I've maintained that now for over almost a year now. Yeah, absolutely. Andro 400 has helped me lose 111 pounds, and I've maintained my weight for almost a year now.
Thanks, James, for that inspiring testimony and 111 good reasons to choose Andro 400. The most effective and natural way to lose belly fat, increase libido, gain energy, strength and muscle while safely boosting your testosterone levels.
Ivan standing by.
Guys, how many reasons do you need for trying Andro 400? Well, here are 2 more great reasons. Order now and get free shipping plus an additional $6 off when you use the code SAVE6. That's SAVE6. Call 888-400-0435, 888-400-0435, or go to andro400.com. andro400.com.
If you're 18 years or older, use marijuana regularly, and are interested in cutting down, you may qualify for a research study at Behavioral Health Services of Pickens County. This study is testing an investigational medication to help cut down the use of marijuana. Evaluation and procedures are free of charge. Compensation up to $1,210 is provided. Strictly confidential. If you're interested, call 864-898-2992 or find us at facebook.com/BHS Research DEPT. Sponsored by MUSC.
This feature sponsored by Navage. Worried about what you're breathing in? With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at Navage.com.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Don't miss your chance to experience South Carolina's #1 haunted house, located in Piedmont off I-85 exit 35. Buy tickets now at madworldattractions.com. That's madworldattractions.com.
You want to know what wagertainment is? It's the picks, the analysis, the information, mixed with the laughter and the entertainment, smart sports betting content. That'll put a smile on your face.
The BetQL Network, streaming live each day and helping you bet smarter.
If you're a sports fan, you know why you should listen. It's sports betting content without the BS. No hot takes, no nonsense.
The BetQL Network, streaming live right now on Odyssey.
Sports, bets, and entertainment.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
The 1947 Notre Dame Fighting Irish entered the season with quarterback Johnny Lujack, the Heisman favorite, and an offensive line considered one of the greatest in college football. The talented Irish squad didn't disappoint. They went on to an undefeated season and won the national championship after defeating unbeaten and third-ranked USC 38-7. 46 players went on to play in the NFL.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Recruiting is what separates you from the rest of the field. It's true in college football and even truer in business. LinkedIn Jobs is here to help your small business find the candidates worth interviewing faster, and it's free. Create a free job post in minutes to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of 770 million people. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. You could have your star talent in place this fall. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/sports. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This fall, Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy to motivation to the latest bestsellers. Find it all at Audible with audiobooks, exclusive originals, and popular podcasts. Start listening free when you sign up at audible.com.
We're trophy winning hosts. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show, only on ESPN Upstate.
Final hour of the show continues. Again, I am Dan Scott sitting in for Rob Brown, as I have been all week, and will through the end of the show tomorrow. He's on vacation and will be back with you on Monday morning. Not going to waste any time. I want to get right to the guest line here. I've been waiting on this one all morning long and all afternoon long, as it turns out. But Ivan Mizell has long been one of the titans of college football coverage in this country for 2 decades at ESPN, now at On3. But we're here to talk about maybe some college football in a bit, but something much more important. He has written a new book that'll be out on the 26th of October called I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, a memoir of loss, grief, and love dedicated to his late son, Max, taking a personal tragedy and turning it into something good to help other people. Ivan Mizell is joining us here on the show. Ivan, welcome to the Rob Brown Show. I'm Dan Scott, sitting in for him. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being willing to do this, A, on such short notice, and B, beyond that, just as I told you when I texted you to ask about doing this and setting up the interview, anytime I see a story where somebody takes a personal tragedy and uses it to try to help other people, I think that's a story that has to be told. I wanted to get you on the air, and I really appreciate you doing this. And I guess the question that a lot of people are probably asking is not why you're doing it. I think, and we'll get into that, but how can you do it? How can you take something so personal and bare your soul to the nation?
Well, that's actually a very good question, and there's sort of a two-pronged answer, which I'll try to keep short. One is I was the last thing I wanted to do was try to remember who we were going to tell everything to and who we were not going to tell something to. I had enough to deal with, and that was sort of out of self-preservation. I said, let's tell everybody what happened. If they attach a stigma to it, that's their issue. Mental illness can be as lethal as cancer, and I felt like that's what Max died of. He ended his life 6.5 years ago. So part of it was I didn't want to have to worry. I didn't want to have to try to remember who knew what and who didn't. And the other part was sort of as I said, with stigma, I really didn't care what people thought. That wasn't going to change anything, and I had much greater problems to deal with.
And it's interesting because I have seen stories like this before, and people kind of grow into a place where they are ready to share their grief publicly and to use what they're going through as a way to perhaps help other people. But you didn't really wait. I mean, you posted online parts of the eulogy you gave at his funeral. So you were doing this pretty much immediately, right?
Yeah, no, I posted the whole eulogy, which was it was 22 minutes spoken, so it went on for a while. But and part of that was the people who were there began to ask me, can I get a copy of it? And people were talking, word began to sort of get out a little bit that you really need to share that. And I thought, okay, and I put it on Medium. And one of the things I said, Dan, that alludes to what we're talking about was, we don't really know what happened to Max. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we know what happened to Max, but we don't know exactly how those last moments went. And the police were at first reluctant to say that he ended his life. And who knows? He could have gone out there. He was on Lake Michigan on probably the coldest night of a really cold winter. Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario, excuse me. And I don't know what happened when he went out there. I mean, he might have changed his mind and fallen and hit his head. I mean, but my point is, what difference did it make? At the end of the day, we didn't have it, and that was the blow. It wasn't really, that was the biggest blow anyway. Visiting with Ivan Mizell, longtime college football writer who's done so many great things in that career, most notably at ESPN for 2 decades, now at On3. But we're talking about his new book, I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, a memoir of loss, grief, and love. I know a part of this is to help celebrate who Max was. So briefly tell us, who was Max? Max, our middle child between two daughters. He was interesting, very different. I always jokingly said he was proof that God had a sense of humor because couldn't have cared less about sports. And I certainly envisioned, I think, as every dad does, that your son will be interested in what you're in, and he couldn't really have cared less. I mean, he had a little interest in the NBA, but he loved Pokemon. He came up just as Pokemon was coming up. He loved anime. He was a photographer, which is sort of the basis of the title of the book. He was a photographer who hated to have his photos taken. And the last photo we have of our 3 children together was at his older sister's college graduation, and I have a picture of the 3 of them, which is the wallpaper on my phone. And the 2 girls are looking right at the camera, and Max is looking up and away. And I turn on my phone and I look at that photo, and I keep trying to catch his eye, but he wouldn't look at the camera. Ivan Mizell with us here. You say he didn't really care much about sports, but I did read he had enough of an indoctrination, that with you being friendly with people on both sides of the Alabama and Auburn rivalry, he had a hard time coming to grips with that, didn't he? Well, So I took him. Max wanted to go to Legoland, and at the time, the only Legoland was in Southern California. So there was a COSIDA, the Sports Information Directors Association, met in San Diego one year. So I took him with me, and so we go in, and Kirk Sampson. I grew up in an Alabama family. Grew up in Mobile. My parents went to Alabama, but the people at Auburn are my friends. And Kirk Sampson, the SID at Auburn, I've known forever. And Max and I ran into him, and I said, "This is my friend Kirk Sampson from Auburn." And Max is 12 years old. He looked at me and he said, "But Dad, you hate Auburn." Out of the mouths of babes, right? Yeah. The gray area was a little bit of a mystery to him, I guess. What do you hope people get from this book? I think what I really hope, Dan, is that they have a better idea of how to deal with their own grief and how to deal with those around them who are grieving. And speaking as someone who is spectacularly clumsy, both as a griever and one who might have comforted the grieving, I try to explain how I learned to treat my grief as just my love for Max in a different form. And once I realized that the depth of my grief equaled the depth of my love for him, it made it a little more palatable. I mean, it was certainly still painful, but I understood it a lot better. And you carry your grief with you everywhere you go. And if you've ever lost somebody, you understand that. And that made the burden easier to carry.
Well, we're going to tell everybody again about how to get the book when it comes out here in just a bit. Before we let you go, I do want to ask you about your new venture, because you spent all of those marvelous years at ESPN, and I had somebody on our text line say you got to tell him how much we love the ESPN 150 series that you spent so much time and labor on. But tell me about the new venture. Tell me about On3. Since ESPN has ended and you moved on to this, tell me about this new venture and what people need to look for, how they can find what you're doing, and just everything that goes into that.
Well, it's on3.com. The business guys who started Rivals and sold it to Yahoo and then started 24/7 Sports and sold it to CBS came to me and said, we know how to do the internet. This time we want to do a college football / recruiting site with premium content, with very good writing. And so I threw in with them. I'm in front of the paywall. There's an incredible amount of recruiting information behind the paywall. And we have a Clemson team site. We have team sites around the country. Those users funnel into On3. Our content funnels to them. And this month in October, we're going to have debut a recruiting database that'll be more comprehensive by a factor of 10 than anything anybody's ever seen. And it's going to be a lot of fun to tool around in.
So that's on3.com, ON and the number 3.com, where you can find Ivan Meisel's work. So the book, I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, comes out on October the 26th, correct?
That's correct. It's published by Hachette. It is available for pre-order now wherever you order your books. And I've had a good number of pre-orders. I really appreciate when people do that. It means something to the publisher, and of course means something to me.
Well, again, as we wrap it up, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being willing to do this, especially on short notice, especially with a pinch hit host on this show here in Greenville, South Carolina. But as I said, these are the stories that I think need to be told and highlighted, because whenever somebody is willing to take a personal tragedy, bare their soul, and try to help other people who may be going through something similar, that story needs to be highlighted. And I just can't tell you how much I admire you and your family for being willing to open up and share this moment.
Well, you're very kind, Dan. I really appreciate being on with you, and call me anytime.
We'll do it. Thank you, Ivan. That's Ivan Meisel from On3.com. And again, the book is called I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye, a memoir of loss, grief, and love. It's about the suicide of his son, Max, and how he and his family are coping with that. The book is available for pre-order now. It comes out on shelves October the 26th. All right, we'll be back with more. We're open phones and texts for the final couple of segments of the show. Dan Scott in for Rob Brown. Back in just a moment.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate. From the Ingalls Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you.
Let me lighten the mood
big.
some. I looked up Alabama white sauce
For a better financial future, but you've got to act now. Call us today
and found out what the ingredients are. And
Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all.
All I'm saying, I can tell you now, or I can tell you later. It's up to you.
There's never been a better time to switch to Spectrum Mobile. You could save hundreds of dollars on your mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save by switching. Visit spectrummobile.com/save. Spectrum Internet required. Savings may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit spectrummobile.com/save for details.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
It's pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently.
I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Your life, your hopes, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., it's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Hey, listen, I know this is not what you want to talk about or even think about, but if last year showed us anything, we need to protect the ones we love. Now, I'm a married guy with 4 kids, and life insurance gives me peace of mind, knowing my family will be taken care of. But your family is your number one priority, so you don't want just anyone for this. You need a professional. That's why I recommend SelectQuote. SelectQuote has been around for over 35 years, and over 2 million families have trusted them. SelectQuote comparison shops highly rated insurance companies like Prudential, Banner Life, Mutual of Omaha, and others to impartially find you the company with the best rates. Their technology quickly matches your individual needs with the best insurance company to find your best policy. Not only is it fast, but you'll be surprised on how affordable a policy can be. Plus, quotes are free. Don't put this off another day. Get your free quote today. Call 800-960-3030. That's 800-960-3030. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As the countdown continues to Sunday night's highly anticipated return of Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady to Foxborough to face his former team, the Patriots, for the first time. Brady, a short time ago, fired off a little trash talk for him anyways. He acknowledged he still has some friends on the Patriots and wanted to, quote, kick their butts this week, end quote. Meantime, Tampa tight end Rob Gronkowski, injured ribs, did not practice for a second straight day. It's unclear if he'll play this week. Bucs receiver Antonio Brown activated from the COVID list. He'll likely play. Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly says quarterback Jack Cohn making good progress in his return from a left ankle injury. The number 9 Irish host number 7 Cincinnati Saturday. Kelly said earlier this week Cohn would remain the starter if healthy. Baseball, Cardinals will start Adam Wainwright in the NL wildcard game on Wednesday against either the Dodgers or the Giants.
I would like to keep all that private. Please, just disrespect.
Text us anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
.243 in the afternoon. Couple of segments left before we get out of here and turn it over to Mark Ryan. Offsides with Mark Ryan, 3-7 at some unknown Ingles in the Upstate. You know what? Maybe you could turn it into a little contest. You know, whoever finds him first wins a prize. Lonzo. So you got to be thinking, you know, promotions, marketing, that kind of thing in this business as well.
It's like Where's Waldo, except for Where's Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it, but in a completely different way. Unique yet different, I think would be the best way to describe it. So you did some research. Earlier, I got asked a question about barbecue sauce and what was my preference. And my preference is, you know, the red barbecue sauce, and don't even go down the road of vinegar. I ain't going in that direction. But then somebody on my Facebook page who's watching the video stream of the show, my friend Ken and Clemson, mentioned something about a mayonnaise-based sauce that apparently is prevalent in Alabama called Alabama white sauce. And you did some research on it, right?
Yeah, I can't find where Mark Ryan is, but I was able to find some Alabama white sauce ingredients. So here we go. Mix mayonnaise, vinegar, horseradish, lemon juice, black pepper, mustard, salt, cayenne pepper, and garlic powder together.
You know, I'm not going to say no right off the bat.
It sounds like it would have a kick to it. It does.
Well, and as I think about it, I actually know of one place in the Upstate that has an advertised Alabama white sauce that they do with their wings. And I have sampled it. I had forgotten about it. And you're right, it does have a little bit of a kick to it. And it wasn't bad. I didn't have enough of it to be able to decide if it's something I would eat regularly. But you know, just listening to the ingredients, it's not something that I would initially say no to.
You know, I thought that it would disgust me, but it doesn't, especially if I'm looking for something, like we said, with a kick. The mayonnaise thing, it still throws me.
Right, which is odd because mayonnaise is a big topic on this show anyway. So, I mean, if you can put mayonnaise in anything.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the text. Well, if it doesn't have Duke's mayonnaise in the Alabama sauce, then I don't want any. Okay. All right. If you have that good of a discerning palate, I would like to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it is interesting that you can't figure out where Mark is, since you probably have that information there within reach, but you can find a recipe for Alabama white sauce.
Well, if anyone out there knows Mark and I, our relationship, they know why I can't find Mark. So
no, it's not can't. It's won't.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm all about transparency here. So, you know, let's tell it like it is. It's not you can't find him. It's that you don't want to find him.
I know where to find him in about 14 minutes.
Okay. Right. You're right here on ESPN Upstate, right?
Absolutely.
97.7 in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and online and the Odyssey app. See, I've gotten so good at those promos I do during the game. I did that right off the top of my head. Keep everybody happy. Keep the bosses happy. Do your thing, but keep the bosses happy. It's what we try to do around here. We do have some time for open phones, open text. We've talked about a lot of different things today. You've heard some different guests, Dave Glenn and his ACC thoughts, agreeing with me about Paul Feinbaum and his Clemson take and how stupid it was. We have the what else did we talk about today? I got to go back on my sheet. Oh, yeah, Virginia-Miami tonight. Loser leave town match. Is the losing coach, is his hot seat getting hotter? I think more for Manny Diaz than for Bronco Mendenhall. And then something we haven't talked about yet is the NFL game tonight. My Bengals and the Jags, the last two number one overall picks in the NFL draft, are going head-to-head. And that has not happened very often in the history of sports. And in fact, this is the first meeting of two quarterbacks who've won college national championships since 2009 when Vince Young and Matt Leinart met in the NFL. So that's how long it's been with that dynamic. The Bengals are 2-1. The Jags are 0-3. And to put that 0-3 in perspective for Trevor Lawrence, he has lost 3 games out of 3 as an NFL quarterback. He was 34-2 at Clemson. So in 3 weeks, he's lost more games as a starting quarterback in the NFL than he lost in his entire collegiate career.
I am curious about something because a lot of people are blaming this on Urban Meyer. I'm curious about your take on that. Is this all Urban Meyer's fault, or is this all on Trevor, or is it a mix of both?
Trevor Lawrence has a learning curve. And I was actually reading some in-depth stuff on this earlier today before the show. And he's going through what a lot of, well, really every rookie quarterback goes through, and some come along quicker than others. And I think he's coming along. But the thing that he is going through right now, more than anything, is the fact that the game is faster, and those open windows to get a pass from his hand to a receiver's hands are smaller, and they close quicker. Those two things are the prominent issues he's dealing with right now. There are some other people out there, though, who say that the Jags as a whole offensively are having a hard time grasping Urban Meyer's system, and that there are still plays, even through preseason practice, through the preseason games and 3 games into the season, there are players on offense who are still doing the wrong thing because they don't have a full grasp on his system yet. So I think there's probably something to both sides of it. I'm going to be really intrigued to see if this Urban Meyer experiment lasts. If he's going to stick it out, and if the organization will allow him the time to do what he wants to do. But I think Trevor Lawrence's issue is what most rookie quarterbacks go through, and that's the fact that the game is faster, the systems are more complex, and you have to make quicker reads, and you have a smaller window to get the pass in. I think those are probably the things that are causing him the most problems. But I can tell you what, he's having a heck of a lot better time of it than Justin Fields and some of the other rookie quarterbacks that are out there. You can see it's coming for him. You can see it's coming.
Yeah, there are two sides. I mean, because you can look at what happened with Peyton Manning on his rookie season. You can look at Troy Aikman. You can look at some guys like that who adjusted and were obviously improved. And then on the other side, you get, I want to say David Carr. Is it David Carr or is it his brother? I always get them mixed up. But anyway, you get some guys like that who came in and they never were able to adapt. I'm looking forward to see what happens, but I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be okay. He just he may not get any wins this year, but I think he's going to be okay.
Well, I mean, Troy Aikman, you mentioned him. He was 1-15 as a rookie quarterback. He took his lumps. Being a Bengals fan, Joe Burrow, through last year, he got injured, I think, in game 9, or maybe it was game 10. He was coming, and the offense had started averaging about 30 points a game. And he was making reads, he was making throws, and he was doing it really from week 1. You look at his stats last year, his touchdown to interception ratio was really good before he got injured. Some guys pick it up quicker than others. But this is going to be an intriguing matchup tonight because you got the Jags who are trying to avoid going 0-4. Got my Bengals who are trying to shake what has been, another 2 or 3 or 4 seasons of not just mediocrity, but terrible football, and doing it on a short week. Anyway, we'll be back to wrap it up after this.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Let me talk to you about the Health Dare. Now, what is the Health Dare? The Health Dare is a plan. It is not a diet. And the cool part about the Health Dare is you're going to be able to eat the food that's in your fridge, the food that's in your pantry, and you can even have fast food and carbs, so you don't have to step a toe inside of a gym. And one thing you don't have to do, you don't have to drink some nasty, disgusting shake. And you don't have to wait for some prepackaged food to come in the mail. It looks like cardboard, tastes like cardboard. And after you are able to eat said cardboard, you're still hungry. You're not going to have that problem with the Health Dare. You are not going to be hungry. You're going to lose weight in 30 days, guaranteed, or your money back. And the other cool part about the Health Dare is they know that no one loses weight alone. You need the support of your friends, your family, your coworkers. Well, now you can bring one of them with you because it's buy one, get one free. Let me break that down for you. You pay half, they pay half. You guys both get the program. You both get healthy from a cellular level. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You have the energy to face the day, but you cannot do it till you do it. Come on, do it today. Here's how you get started with the Health Dare. Go to idareme.com, fill out some information, and one of the Health Dare coaches will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. And don't forget, it is buy one, get one free. Go to idareme.com today. And when you're there, make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center, here's the Upstate's most trusted forecast on ESPN Upstate. Mostly sunny skies this afternoon, a high around 87. And for tonight, partly cloudy, low of 64. Friday, partial sunshine develops, a high of 82 degrees. And for the weekend, sunshine, highs in the 80s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 86.
There's a lot of confusion about how to protect
We'll have a
yourself from
minute
COVID,
when we get back.
with
And
guidelines
I'll be
and
right back.
regulations changing by the week. One thing is certain. You need an accurate thermometer for your family to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They have no scientific studies behind them and can miss the fever that might mean COVID. Learn more at Exergen.com.
The Burns Rebels play on ESPN Upstate.
This Friday night, the Rebels return to action as they host the Spartanburg Vikings to begin region play. It's Spartanburg at Burns Friday night on ESPN Upstate.
Powered by your local Ingles Market.
Got a question for you. Do you know a strike from a split? Well, sounds like you're perfect for the Stone Man Bad Bowlers Club. Hey, it's the Stone Man, and for the next 8 weeks, every Thursday night, we're going to be hitting the lanes or the gutters over at Spare Time Entertainment on Congaree Road. Bring your team or just bring yourself, and don't worry if you're not that good. It's called the Bad Bowlers Club for a reason. Come join us. Get on over to ClassicRock1011.com/bowl right now. That's ClassicRock1011.com/bowl to sign up. The Stoneman Bad Bowlers Club, only at Spare Time Entertainment on Congaree Road, sponsored by Michelob Ultra.
Stuck in an expensive timeshare contract and feel like there's no way out?
I'm almost at $10,000 in 4 years. I've never traveled anywhere.
They made this sound that this would be a really good deal, that I could go anywhere, anytime I wanted to. That never worked out.
I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group. I've helped thousands of people get rid of their timeshares. I know all the tricks because I'm embarrassed to say I once worked in the timeshare industry. We've saved suffering timeshare owners millions in debt and maintenance fees. When you're approved as a client, I guarantee you a 100% success rate. We'll get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off of your back permanently.
I honestly would recommend that you call Wesley Financial. They will help you.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free information kit. If they can't get you out of your timeshare, you'll pay nothing. Call 800-770-2727. 800-770-2727. That's 800-770-2727.
And now a small business setback, set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind. The deer about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states.
1 minute.
Terms and conditions apply.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This fall, Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy to motivation to the latest bestsellers. Find it all at Audible with audiobooks, exclusive originals, and popular podcasts. Start listening free when you sign up at audible.com.
He's not messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Just a moment or so to say goodbye to the text line. It says, Lonzo, Dan, thank you for a profanity-free show. My 7-year-old and I appreciate it. Also, great interview with Ivan Mizell. And another one, Dan, the text works great for those who are working and cannot call. Just wrapping up a couple of things we talked about earlier. Tomorrow, as I wrap up my guest hosting tenure here, it will be a lot of college football, but some baseball thrown in. A couple of former big leaguers, Bob Kipper and Jeff Baker, will be with us with the regular season wrapping up this weekend and playoff spots still on the line. All that ahead tomorrow. Stay tuned. Offsides with Mark Ryan is coming up next. Thank you for indulging me another day. Looking forward to wrapping it up tomorrow. For Lonzo, I'm Dan Scott. Again, saying God bless you and so long, everybody.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville, WORD Spartanburg, WFBC FM HD3.
An Odyssey station.
As the official team